So all is in readiness here. There's Chris Grant at full forward, playing an important role this afternoon. We look at the weather conditions. Expect a top of 28. It's already 27 degrees here. The umpire holds the ball aloft for the opening bounce. It's round 3 action. West Coast versus the Western Bulldogs at Subiaco. Darcy in the ruck against Gardner. Nathan Brown, the first effective disposal for the match. Towards half forward for the Bulldogs, inside their 50, but only momentarily. It's gathered by Hunter. His little kick around the corner, and West Coast will clear towards the members' side. Mitchell Hahn there for the Bulldogs. Judd as well for West Coast. The ball's kept in. Comes to Bandy. Hahn now under pressure. The umpire's pulled out a free kick. It's going West Coast way for over the shoulder. It'll go to Andrew Embley.
So Embley with the ball on centre wing. Will have to bring it back. Behind the mark. His attack on the football in the first couple of weeks, Ben, has been impressive.
Well, the first week, the Derby was great. Last week, a bit quiet. So to see him hit the ball pretty hard at the opening minutes of this match, it's a good sign.
Andrew Embley looks for his options. A kick short. Cousins presents himself, and Garlick has the early job on the Eagles captain. To centre half forward, the kick goes. McMahon got hands to it and completed the grab.
Well done, because it was a bit dicey going back with the flight of the ball last week, so to get hands on a strong mark for the young boy, good start as well.
Releases to Johnson, to left half forward. The kick goes, almost a mark taken there by Gian Siracusa. Hunter goes to ground after Croft drove him into Subiaco Oval. Well played by Jakovic, stepped around a couple, kicks to open space. Jones is there, hard up against the boundary, hand pass, Gasper receives it. The big fellow floats a pass towards a 50. Awkward bounce there for Wilson and Hunter. Banfield, so too Hahn. And Hahn will perhaps look for the boundary. Instead, he keeps it in play from behind. A chance there for Taylor to wrap up his opponent. Albie, the crowd are holding the ball. We'll have a ball up instead. No score. We've gone 2 minutes in the first term from Subiaco, round 3 action.
Philip Matera has got Tony Liberatore, and Ben isolated him immediately, taking him straight down to the goal square. It's the ball up. Plenty of players around this contest. Scott West in under the pack, as always. He's wrapped up by a swarm of Eagles players, and we'll have another bounce.
And Kingsley Hunter has Troy Wilson, and good tactics by Hunter because he's starting about 10 metres in front of Troy Wilson, so good positioning early.
Look at the head-to-heads between these two sides. West Coast enjoy a dominance over the Bulldogs. And as we say, particularly here in Perth, where they've won 10 of the 13 meetings over the last 15 years. Ball up. There's Gardner working at ground level for West Coast. Handball back releases Taylor to Cousins. The skip has been prominent early. Beautiful pinpoint pass just inside the boundary line. The mark taken by Gasper. Gasper towards the 50, puts it out in front of Embley. Robbins mops up for the Bulldogs. He goes short and finds Bandy.
Lots of space.
So Bandy towards centre half forward. Croft out on the lead. Jakovic came late and did just enough. Worried him off the football. Well played, Glenn Jakovic. Towards half forward, Gasper. Little handoff to Fletcher. Now to Gardner. 52 metres out. Will kick to the square. Matera versus Liberatore, and Phil Matera takes the mark.
Well, that was the space that you're talking about that Phil Matera had amongst Tony Liberatore. If they get it in there one out, you'd back Phil Matera because he's very, very quick off the mark. Liber just not able to go with him when the ball was in the air.
So Philip Matera, as we say, his 100th game. He's kicked 187 goals, 116 in his career, 5 so far for 2002. From point-blank range, he kicks the first goal of the game.
Pretty good start from West Coast. It's been a solid opening from both clubs. Just a little skill error midfield, but Croft opposed to Jakovic, that's an interesting one. Croft at centre half forward. Ball just coming through, nothing too scientific about it. And Michael Gardner just gets the ball in there, and Phil Matera off the mark. Just got about half a metre on Tony Liberatore. And good finish as you'd expect with him.
So Phil Matera, who joined the West Coast Eagles back in 1996. A goal last week and an early goal in his 100th game. The Eagles with the first of the afternoon. They lead by that margin. Ball back in the centre. Umpire Martin Ellis restarts play. Darcy and Gardner neither got a hand on it. It fell at their feet. It came to Cousins. Swings it to centre half forward. Gardner got hands to it. Tries to spin out of trouble. Judd, impressive last week, to Gasper. Ambitious hand pass, charging through as Wilson caught one high in the process, and he's gone down.
Oh. Just kept following the footy, Troy Wilson. It was good play. It takes a bit of courage to get in front of him when he's got his eyes on the ball. And Daniel Bandy just copped him high. Wasn't too much in that. Fair enough, you've got to make him earn the kick. He's had his fair share of knocking other guys over, Wilson, so showing a bit of physical presence, Bandy, early.
Troy Wilson has kicked 11 goals so far this season, including a haul of 5 last week against the Magpies at the MCG. And this distance, right on his limit, I'd suggest. Kicking into a breeze at the Subiaco end of the ground. Wilson gets close to the man on the mark, makes good contact, drop punt, has gone all the way. The Eagles have got the first 2 goals of the afternoon.
And that's what they needed to do, West Coast, get off to a solid start, because the Western Bulldogs obviously haven't won a game in their opening 2 matches. Yeah, Bandy just taking his eyes off the ball and going straight for the man. It was definitely a free kick. Good play from Wilson, because he attracts defenders when he's got the ball, but that's what the West Coast can do. They can sap the confidence out of the Bullies early. They get a couple more goals, and it will be interesting to see how the Western Bulldogs react. At the minute, they've got 2 of their guns in, Rowan Smith and Chris Grant on the full forward line. Ball hasn't even looked like going up there yet.
Gone 6.25 minutes. The Bulldogs struggling to get their hands on the football. Disposals 21-6 in favour of West Coast. Inside 50s 2-0. Gardner timed his run a little better, but couldn't get an effective disposal away. Here's Wirpunda. Just creates some space for himself. Towards half forward, out in front of Embley, and he takes the mark 75 metres from home. Embley to centre half forward. Here's Wilson out on the lead again. It clears him. Spills to Jones at the back. Couldn't take the mark. West to Liberatore. By hand to Alvey. And now releases Brown at defensive 50.
Nowhere to go.
Uncertain of his options. Kick looking in hope for the boundary line. And in the end, Taylor takes it there.
It was actually a very smart kick then from Nathan Brown, because he looked up and all he saw was Richard Taylor and Glenn Jakovich in front of him. He didn't want to just kick it down their throats, so he chose to the boundary line. Good play.
So a throw in. 7.25 minutes in this opening term. The Eagles with the first 2 goals. Darcy emerges from the ruck contest. Thumps a kick towards half forward. And it beats Grant and his man Darren Glass over the line for another throw in.
It was great play by Darcy, but it was just unusual that he chose to go to for the torpedo punt. It would have been percentage-wise a lot better. Just kick a normal drop punt and giving Chris Grant a chance.
Particularly when he was in space in a one-on-one contest. So a throw in right on 50 for the Bulldogs. The closest they've got to goal so far this afternoon. Jakovich fists it back towards the line, and Johnson sees it over.
You see Jakovich and Daniel Bandy doing the rugs from the boundary throw in. Darcy's a kick behind the play, and good play by Gardner. He's not giving Darcy any easy kicks. He's playing one-on-one footy in the middle of the ground.
Bandy against Jakovich. Bandy with the front position. Palmed it down to Robbins. To Johnson. Tries to bend it back with his right boot. Just started a little bit too far to the left. And through for the opening score to the Bulldogs this afternoon. And behind to Brad Johnson. We've gone 8.25 minutes in the opening term. It's West Coast 2 straight goals. The Bulldogs 1 behind.
Richard Taylor to bring the ball back into play for the Eagles. Just on 30,000 at Subiaco this afternoon.
Not much movement there from West Coast, Mark. He'll have to go long.
Which he does eventually to the outer side of the ground. Jakovich works his man Darcy off the football. Off hands, we've got a throw in.
I think that's a worrying sign. I know it's very early in the game and West Coast have got 2 goals, but from a point kick in, you can see how enthusiastic the side is, and maybe it's the heat, a little bit sapping. I know it's early in the match, but worrying sign, I reckon.
From the throw in, Garner decisively. McMahon roved it well. His kick only travelled about 15 metres. Cousins in trouble, scoops it out to Peter Matera, throws it on his boot. Up towards the wing, Hahn crashes through, did well. The Eagles with the numbers around the football though. Jones over it. How will the umpire read this? We'll have a baller. An 11-point lead to the West Coast Eagles. Goals to Philip Matera and Troy Wilson. Bright sunshine, warm day here in Perth. Darcy and Gardner, they'll spend a lot of time locking arms, as they did just then. Johnson from the spill dribbles the ball towards the 50. Bandy and Jakovich. Jakovich toe pokes it towards the line. Quite content to see it over. In the end, keeps it in. Kicks long. West in the best position to mark and does so opposed to Fletcher. Scott West kicks the Bulldogs forward. Taylor the spoil. Down to Williams, in turn to Peter Matera, and West Coast push forward.
Matera towards half forward. Here comes Philip Matera. Spills to the back of the contest. Robbins is wrapped up in a tackle. Pressure on the Bulldog defence here. It's Embley on hands and knees. Tries to farm it out to Philip Matera. There's Liberatore on the bottom of the pack. He gets taken high. And we'll get the free kick.
You'd hate to know how many times he's done that in his career.
It's pretty hard to take him low. Rowan Smith towards the wing. Numbers with the Bulldogs, but the Eagles have the football. Judd crashes through, creates some space for Peter Matera.
Play on.
He goes to 50. Chance here for Embley. Tries to screw it around his body. In fact, it was Colica. Philip Matera had the right idea, tried to tap it over the top to Embley in space, but only got it as far as Harrison. He goes short to Smith, who's forced to play on. Brings it towards the members' side of the ground and finds Elvey. Plays on towards the wing. Croft takes the mark in front of Michael Gardner. We've gone almost 11 minutes in the opening term. It's West Coast 2 goals, the Bulldogs a point. Croft steps around Gardner. Kick to half forward. Johnson's his target. He goes back with a fly to the ball and takes the mark.
There's only 3 forwards down there for Western Bulldogs. He'll just wait, Johnson, for someone to pop up. He's gone long.
Fourth possession for Brad Johnson.
Poor kick. Poor kick. He had Daniel Bandy, Chris Grant and Nathan Brown all working very, very hard just to try and get a couple of metres on their respective opponents. Just wasn't patient enough then, Brad Johnson. Went for the long bomb for home.
His second behind this afternoon. That is the Bulldogs score. West Coast to 2 straight goals, 11.5 minutes gone in the first term.
Wallace already made a change. Bandy gone to centre-half forward opposed to Jakovic, and Croft has come from that position. He's at centre-half back opposed to Gaspar.
Banfield with the kick in. Stepped over the line, I think. And the umpire's going to bring it back and bounce it at the top of the goal square. One of the cardinal sins that coaches absolutely hate.
Yeah, it's a shocker, isn't it? Banfield, he's had an indifferent start to the year. One would say he was opposed to Brodie Holland in the Collingwood match for probably a couple of quarters and got a number of goals kicked on him, so he wouldn't be happy with that.
You can see the Bulldogs have left the goal line open. Banfield just calling his man to come round and cover that now. Colica will track back and do so. So a bounce right on the top of the goal square. Bandy farms it back into the hot zone. Banfield goes off the ground, but only gets it out as far as the Bulldogs player, Gian Siracusa. And he misses from pretty much point-blank range, 15 metres out. The Bulldogs have their third behind. West Coast to 2 straight goals. They've gone 12.5 in the opening term. Bit of rough stuff off the ball.
Taylor brings the ball back into play. Pins points a pass, and Glass is on the end of it. Glass, who of course suffered an ankle injury last year, and his kick is very poor. West slots in, takes the mark, 45 metres out directly in front. And an error in defence can prove very costly. It may just do that here with Scott West with the ball in his hands.
Pretty good zone set though from Western Bulldogs. Just a chip kick came out from Richard Taylor. Oh, he's just passed it on to Rowan Smith. Good team play.
From 50 metres, Smith, drop punt on its way. It's tight. And he too has missed. So you suspect a set play of sorts here from the Western Bulldogs, but Smith, unfortunately for the Western Bulldogs, unable to convert.
Well, it's just having a fantastic understanding of what your own capabilities are and what your teammates are.
Taylor kicks long. Jakovic out there, got hands to it. Roving it was Hunter, gave it back to Jakovic. Slips it over the top to Peter Matera, hard up against the boundary. Hoists it towards centre wing. Gaspar attacks the football from behind. The spoil came from Croft. It's a loose ball. Fletcher and West have scored it over the boundary line. We've got to throw in about 75 out from the Western Bulldogs goal. They trail by 8 points midway through this first quarter.
14 minutes gone. The Bulldogs just settled it down here. They were struggling to get their hands on the football early, but they've almost evened up that disposals tally. Darcy tried to take it out of the contest, but going nowhere. Elvey on top of the pack will have a bounce.
Yeah, swinging them around, his players, Terry Wallace. Nathan Brown's gone to full forward now alongside Chris Grant. Brad Johnson's now up in the midfield.
Just clearing some space there for Daniel Bandy at half forward, one-on-one against Jakovic. Another bounce. Gardner taps it down, but it's sharked by West. There is that contest we spoke of. Bandy and Jakovic. Off Bandy's hands. Gian Siracusa to Johnson from 40 metres out on the run. Is it their first goal? It is!
that's what they'll try and do, Bullies. They got thrashed in the clearances last week against the Kangaroos. Scotty West is normally very good in that area. He got the ball going then. Brad Johnson, we just see during Syracuse, just look at the pick up there at pace. Probably when you're going half pace, it's not such a difficult skill. Good left foot finish from Brad Johnson, but changing the team around, Brown to full forward, Johnson in the midfield. Just keep your opponent guessing. Good coaching.
So Brad Johnson, the Bulldogs' leading goal kicker last year with 48, has won this afternoon. 5 disposals in total. The Eagles by 2 points. The Bulldogs hitting back from the restart. Gardner lays it down into the path of Taylor. Free kick's been plucked out of there. It'll go to West just behind the centre circle.
Nathan Brown starting that centre bounce, changing his tactic again, starting at centre half back and just running forward. Here he goes.
Chips the pass to Brown and he takes the mark opposed to Judd. A lot of players forward of this centre circle. Nathan Brown holding onto the football, waiting for his right option. Albie presents that now. Metres in the clear. Albie takes it and goes. About 60 metres from home. Spears the pass towards Grant and hits him on the chest. Wonderful execution by Mark Albie.
He's been around a while, hasn't he, Albie? And, hasn't played that many games. Had the 19 possessions last week, and in the 20-odd games that he's played, he is capable of getting a number of possessions and being quite creative.
Yeah, he played 7 games last year, Ben, and was emergency another 7 times. So you're right, he has been around the fringes for a while. Originally debuted in 1998.
And he might be one of those players, West Coast be worried about Nathan Brown, Johnson, Scotty West. He might be the one from Terry Wallace's point of view that gets under the guard of West Coast. He might be a bit of a smoky today.
Just 1 goal so far this year for the captain, Chris Grant. Of course, a tumultuous pre-season, just getting out onto the ground. A kick from about 30 metres, very tight angle. Grant's kick, deliberate, bending it back. I think he snuck it through for a goal. Yes, he has.
Well, you've probably given his pre-season, Chris Grant, you wouldn't expect him to find his best touch for probably another month. I mean, he's had he couldn't play any of the practice games, and just that match hardening he hasn't been able to get. You just see this ball come up to Albie. It was poor play because the rest of the players were all manned up from West Coast point of view. That's a great pass, a great delivery. Chris Grant, he just might be getting a little bit better each week.
So Chris Grant registers his first goal for the afternoon, and the Bulldogs take the lead for the first time. They're 2-4-16. West Coast 2 straight goals. We've gone 17 3/4 minutes in this opening term. Centre square infringement's going the way of West Coast. The free kick will be taken by Michael Gardner. Another cardinal sin that the coaches hate. That and running over the goal line when you're kicking in. Gardner, the half forward. Wilson on the long lead, comes out and takes the mark. 70 metres from home. Chips inboard looking for Embley. Goes through his hands. Chance for Weir Punda. On 50. Wants to bring it around his body. He does. He's got 2 players in the pocket. One of them's Gasper. He gets crunched by Crediuk and will take the free kick.
Crediuk knows no other way. He was going to go straight at his opponent and make him earn it if he was going to be the recipient of a free. Just watch him. Just a little bit high, so execution not fantastic. Needed to go a little bit lower at the hips. That's probably obvious, but he makes his opponent earn every kick he gets.
We'll keep an eye on Nathan Brown down there in the forward pocket for West Coast, just hobbling around, signalling, trying to get the runner's attention. He's got a problem with his leg. The ball's with Gasper. Tight angle, as you can see, right on the boundary line. Kick on its way. We'll wait on it. Looks fantastic off the boot. What a magnificent goal to Travis Gasper. West Coast have their third. They snatch back the lead. There's 3 straight goals as Nathan Brown comes to the bench. The Bulldogs 2-4-16. Let's head down to Michael Thompson.
Yes, the immediate call, Jason, from the bench. Get him off the ground as soon as possible. Favouring that left ankle, it looks very serious. Unlikely he's going to play any further part in this game. It looks serious indeed.
It's a big loss, isn't it? He not putting any weight whatsoever on his leg. He's in trouble. You'd almost write him off just on that vision straight away. But Travis Gasper, normally the Gasper's playing defence. His big brother, of course, playing for Richmond and not a noted goal kicker, but that'd make his big brother proud, that kick.
Just the 5th goal of his career, Gasper. We saw Nathan Brown, knew he was in trouble straight away, was signalling to the runners and the trainers to get him off. He knew he'd done something serious. Let's hope it's not too bad for the Bulldogs.
So the Eagles regain the lead by 2 points here at Subiaco Oval. A competitive start to this round 3 match. Good bounce in the centre. Again, the ruckman hadn't quite time there, Leap. Gardner got a hand on it. Ball tied up, will have a secondary bounce.
These two, the two ruckmen, Darcy and Gardner, will basically be going at each other from go to woe, Mark. And you're right, they haven't timed their jumps into each other. Darcy trying to get up above Gardner, so he should the centre bouncers have a real advantage. But these ones, you think Gardner will be a bit too strong. The ball ups.
Right back in the centre circle again. Umpire Ellis puts it down. Gardner slaps it down to the advantage of Weir Punda. Good pressure by the Bulldogs. Weir Punda still pushing it in front of himself. McMahon on his tail. Judd left it behind. Comes to West. Throws it on his boot. Open forward line for the Bulldogs. Johnson, if it sits, he's a chance. Close to the boundary line. Runs off his knee. And we've got a throw in. So the Bulldogs have definitely lifted their work rate in the second part of this opening quarter. And Terry Wallace, who's been at the club since 1996, replacing Alan Joyce late in that season, looks on. They're in attack, the Bulldogs. McMahon tries to spin out of trouble. Matera, brilliantly done. Lays it off to Cousins. Loops a hand pass to Hunter. And from half back, the Eagles can set things up. Gasper in front of Croft. The big fellow does well. Terrific agility. Swings the ball back. Pushing the back, he'll get a free kick. Travis Gasper coming up for his 6th disposal of the afternoon in his first game of the year. Looking very promising for John Worsfold.
Interesting selection, actually, because he's really replaced Dean Cox. So if Gardner needs a reprieve, this guy will be giving it to him. This is just the replay, push in the back. Had to be paid.
Gasper with the goal already this afternoon. His confidence riding high, no doubt. Lobs it inside the 50. Wilson had to spoil, rode by Judd, the youngster on his left foot, swings it back and hits the post. Exciting stuff there from Chris Judd, the Eagles' #1 draft choice.
So look fantastic. He looks the type of player that's very, very difficult to tackle. We know how hard Robert Harvey, for example, is to lay a hand on. And this guy looks the same. He just has got that extra strength and a bit of extra pace about him.
The kick in was an ambitious one from the Bulldogs. It's turned over. It comes to Taylor, to Weir Punda. Kick partly smothered by Robbins. West Coast still a chance here through Fletcher. Twisting and turning. Found space where there was none. Gave it over the top to Weir Punda. He goes to the pocket. Misses his target in Williams and will have a throw in.
I always reckon you're just better to take a chance then when you, rather than muck around with the ball on the 60-metre mark, just whack it in there front of the goal square and just hope that a forward's smart enough to be in the right spot.
Nathan Brown getting ice on his left ankle at the moment. Chance here for the Bulldogs to clear through Garlick. Just hacks it out, looking for the boundary line. It's a 2-on-1 out there. If it sits for Jones, he can't quite keep it in. We'll have a throw in inside 50 for West Coast. They lead by 3 points. 3-1-19. The Bulldogs 2-4-16. They've gone 23 minutes in the opening term. Leading possession getters for both sides. Gasper has 6. Scott West 6 for the Bulldogs. It's Darcy to West. There he is again, #7. Off to Burse. Shane Burse, the youngster from Sale in country Victoria, playing his second game of football this afternoon. Out towards Gian Siracusa. Took one high and received the free kick just backward of the wing. Goes inboard to Burse. A little bit of space, undecided. Where's he going to go? One way and then the other. Gives it off to Harrison. Kicks inside 50. Grant wrestles with Glass. That allows Colica to come over the top and fist it to the line.
Glass, he's got a big task today, hasn't he? Assigned to Chris Grant. Grant playing forward today, but Glass, he'll stick to his guns. He's a pretty good one-on-one.
Michael Thompson, boundary side.
Nathan Brown with the left ankle elevated and iced. He's just in disgust. He's taken off his right boot as well, and unlikely we're going to see him again in this game.
Jakovic to Taylor. Out to Hunter. Outside defensive 50. He's got a man on in space. It's Gardner. He takes the mark on the outer wing.
You think the footy gods have got Nathan Brown?
It's been a big week for him, that's for sure. Philip Matera had better watch out. Gardner towards half forward. Beautiful kick, was very well weighted. The mark, again, the man of the moment, Travis Gasper. Running Croft around at the moment. There is Philip Matera. 70 metres from home. Playing in front against Tony Liberatore. Gone 24 3/4 minutes as he goes inside 50. Opportunity for the Bulldogs to clear. Johnson couldn't get onto it. Embley intercepted. Comes to Rowan Smith. Up towards the wing. The bounce beat Jan Siracusa. Jakovic at the back leads Bandy. Matera comes across to lay the Shepherd. Jakovic towards Colica. Bounces off his chest. West Coast go forward through Hunter. Awkward looking kick. Just pitched inside the line. We'll have a throw in.
Yeah, I just reckon it showed he didn't have a left foot there, young Adam Hunter. Just probably would have, if he had it, he would have kicked it 40 metres further up the ground rather than just go along the boundary line with his right.
A couple of players already with their hands on their hips in the sapping conditions here at Subiaco. So a frenetic start here. Gasper took clean possession. Beautiful hands there by Cousins to Fletcher. Wilson on the lead. Unopposed takes the mark 30 metres out, directly in front.
Well, Kingsley Hunter, I watched him and he was looking at the ball then, Mark, as that ball came from Chad Fletcher. Had no idea where his opponent, Troy Wilson, was, and he was essentially 15 metres away from him when Troy Wilson took the mark.
Wilson already with one goal this afternoon. And this a far easier shot at goal than his previous attempt.
So there's no way he'll miss it.
I'm not sure he's a certainty. But for a full four, this is bread and butter stuff. From 35 metres out, Wilson's drop putt. Well done. Slots it through the middle. Oh, for a point. Beno sold me up the garden path there. Thank you very much.
It looked okay from here.
You knew he was never going to kick it from the time you said he was almost a certainty.
Just have a look. The closer he gets, the shakier he gets. A bit like me with my putting. But that ball's in a good spot right now. Good action. Nice and composed. Maybe just dropped it a little bit high.
So the Bulldogs go long from the kick in. Out towards Darcy was the target. The Eagles have numbers at ground level. It's Jones to Gardner. Inside 50, man in space is Embley. Thought about playing on, then thought better of it. He'll go back and set it up. 55 metres out from goal. Decides to chip it over the top. It was an ambitious kick, but it was beautifully weighted. And the mark there taken by Fletcher.
A good play. Fletcher a left footer, so the angle, he'll be able to improve it just going out to his left naturally. Good little kick from Embley, but interesting that Croft has actually come off the ground. Travis Gaspar assigned to him at centre-half forward. Croft centre-half back and already removed in this match.
Yeah, we mentioned that Gaspar was leading him a merry dance. So here's Fletcher. Set shot for goal, looks pretty good. He just guides it through. West Coast have their fourth.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting start. The thing that I reckon from Bully's point of view that's going to hurt them, I reckon they need one of their guns to really stand up today. Nathan Brown's not going to be one of them because he's out for the match. I think either Johnson, Grant or Smith have to be the best player. There you see Nathan Brown. He looks a bit disappointed. I mean, when you got ice on your ankle at the 28-minute mark of the first quarter, you know that's your game. Someone's got to stand up for Bullies.
A forlorn sight for Western Bulldog supporters. Nathan Brown sidelined with an ankle injury. The Eagles out by 10 points. From the restart, it comes to Robbins. Kicks it long inside the 50. Jakovic in best position. Ball sits up, comes to the back. A chance there for Hunter. Loops a hand pass to Jakovic. He's got a man loose at half-back. Weir Punda in space. Measures the pass over the top. Bandy almost stole it out of the grasp of Gaspar. The Eagles working hard. Embley. Hand pass over the top. Cousins has to meet it hard. Liberatore was there as well. Garlick got hold of it. And they steady and kick it along. Just a chip pass in the end over the top to Smith. Western Bulldogs trail by 10 points. Johnson, who's been busy early, coming up for his 6th kick of the afternoon. Into the pocket. Grant opposed to Glass. An important hand in there from Glass. Kept it in play momentarily. But a good result for the West Coast Eagles defender.
And Glenn Jakovic already has his third opponent. He started on Croft, then Bandy had him for about 5 minutes. Now young Bowden is on him, and I reckon Bowden's instruction is to try and take him right away from the action. Jakovic with 7 possessions.
Throw it inside 50 for the Bulldogs. McMahon there. Created some space for Jan Siracusa. He pulls it back, but it's all West Coast, and Gardner takes an uncontested mark. Terry Wallace has made the change. Bandy's gone to Gaspar.
Tackle.
Jakovic wrapped up in the tackle by Bowden, who came on for Croft. Gardner kicks over the wing, Member's side. Judd goes to ground, Hahn tracks back. Jones crashes through for West Coast. Burst puts his body on the line for the Doggies. Gets it out to Bandy. Not sure where to go. Gasper's got him now. Gave off the handball. Liberatore, in fact it was Garlick, crashed through and tried to take Cousins to the line and did so. We'll have a throw in.
I reckon Garlick's done a pretty good job on Cousins. Cousins has had the 6 possessions, but I think they've all been pressurised. He'll stick to his guns, Garlick.
So we've gone 30 minutes and 25 seconds in this opening term. It's West Coast by 10 points. Can they control the football? Judd, slick little handball out to Weirpunda. 65 metres out, spears the pass inside 50 and finds Fletcher.
Good play by Fletcher, because he's just drifting forward when he's got the chance. He's lining up for his second goal already. And Scotty West, he's a ball winner. We know that. We know how productive he can be. And if you're going to hurt Scotty West, you've got to get your hands on the ball yourself. And one way of hurting him is to, well, is directly kick goals. And that's what Fletcher's doing.
So Fletcher, his 6th possession. Well, he stooged us all. Lined up like he was going to have a shot. Went short. And honoured the lead offered there by Andrew Williams. He'll have a shot at goal. Tighter angle, but much closer in, only about 25 metres out.
You don't see that too often, do you? Once someone's made a definite decision in their own mind that they're going to have a shot, it doesn't matter what happens around you. Very rarely do you see them dish it off. And that showed fantastic awareness from Fletcher. Needs to have a solid game because he was poor last week. Started well.
Good discipline too from Andrew Williams to offer the lead when it looked like he was already going to have a shot on goal. So there is the siren for quarter time. Andrew Williams. See the angle there. Kick on its way. He started it way left and put a beautiful slice on it. Brought it back straight through the middle. And West Coast go to the opening break with a 16-point lead. It's West Coast 5-2-32. The Bulldogs at 2-4-16. It's West Coast by 16 points at the opening change. Inside 50s that quarter, 11-8 in favour of the Eagles. They had 27 more disposals. As we start the second term here at Subiaco, Darcy again jumped early. Gardner just waited underneath the ball. Kick towards half forward. The surprise pack at Gasper. It clears his head. He runs back onto it now. There's a Bulldogs player down, and the ball's going to come back. It'll be a free kick to the Bulldogs and Tony Liberatore. Almost a dream start there for West Coast in that second term. But Tony Liberatore to relieve the pressure. We'll see on replay. Just taken high there by Weirpunda. Kick up towards the centre of the ground. A fist from Banfield. Gasper. Crash tackled there by Darcy. Going nowhere. We'll have a bounce.
I tell you, he's very, very nimble on his feet. Gaspar. The ball came in initially to Daniel Bandy and he on the half-forward line at the start of this quarter. He just turned Bandy inside out. He looks very nimble for a tall man.
He's had 8 possessions. Gardner 9. Jakovic also 8 for West Coast. So they're big men doing well in that opening term. West. Handball a bit too hot for Burse. Chance for Judd. Dispossessed. Goes again. Well played. Handball over the top. Hahn. Around his body to Johnson. He's got 2 to beat here. Taken down in the tackle by Banfield. That released Taylor. He goes short to Fletcher. It's the bare 15 metres as he takes the mark.
Fletcher normally pretty good from this occasion. He's a pretty good kick, and if he's patient, he should be able to spot someone as long as the forwards are just giving him a lead.
So Fletcher decides to go short. Was looking for Williams. Was ambitious. He had 2 to beat there. Crediuk. Under pressure. Cousins. Taken by Williams. A high kick towards the goal square. Matera one out with Liberatore. Was appeared to be scragged. The umpire spotted it as well, Martin Ellis. And the free kick will go the way of Philip Matera.
And when you're intimidated by pace, which I think is what Liberatore is, he's intimidated by Phil Matera's pace, that's when you tend to hang on. And he's got, I mean, it wasn't severe necessarily in terms of scragging, but it was definitely getting held onto before the ball was in the vicinity. That's what tends to happen. They grab on when you're in trouble.
So Phil Matera, he's kicked 1 goal this afternoon, coming up for his 3rd possession. See the reverse angle. Matera from 10 metres out. In he comes and converts. West Coast get the opening goal of the second term and extend their lead to 22 points.
Well, it was good play. He's a big game player. One thing I reckon Worsfold will be looking at doing is giving Gardner a reprieve at certainly some stage during this quarter. We just see this ball coming in. Liver, he's got his eyes on the ball, but he's just got a bit too much jumper. That right hand, it's just not subtle enough. And just bringing Phil Matera to ground, so that free had to be there. But Gardner should get reprieve while the game's in control of West Coast.
A couple of goals to Philip Matera, and the Eagles get the first of this second term to stretch their lead. Ball bounced in the middle. It favours Darcy, gives it to Garlick. Pounced upon by a couple of Eagles, somehow broke free. We get a free kick taken high. Western Bulldogs, having lost Nathan Brown, really have to dig deep here this afternoon. Yet to win a match in 2002. Interestingly, their first halves have been their best in the first two matches. Not so this afternoon so far. Bandy, the former Docker, runs onto the football. The spoil came from Glass, but interfered with Grant in the process. Gian Syracuse, the advantage is paid, and he kicks into the pocket, and a chance for the Bulldogs to get a reply off the boot of Bowden. Tight angle, but Gasper showed in the first quarter it can be done. So Patrick Bowden, the 20-year-old, his brother Joel plays for the Tigers. About 35 metres out. Starts at left and it stays left. Misses the lock. West Coast Eagles to bring the ball back into play off the boot of Banfield. He won't have fond memories of the last time he met the Bulldogs. A serious knee injury in round 9 last year when the Dogs got up by 48 points. Look, it's a dangerous kick just over the head of Bowden. Peter Matera runs onto it from half back into open space. Gasper and Bandy. The bounce accommodates the latter. Weird Punda, terrific chase. And Bandy has been run out of bounds, thanks in part to the work by David Weir-Punda.
Oh, it was great play. Tackle from behind, just retain the ball in the area where it was. Great pressure skills from Weir-Punda.
22-point lead. There's a free kick as the ball is tossed back in. It'll go to the West Coast Eagles. Gardner will take it.
That is very, very soft. Gardner just looked like he lost his footing. Darcy won the physical battle there, it seemed.
Gardner's kick is low and wide. Wilson charges as always. Somehow it stays in. Now Chris Judd has a bounce. Runs to 35. Weighs up his options and steers it through for a very good goal.
Well, that is just a brilliant individual effort from Chris Judd. We've spoken of his praises even only after one game. It was fantastic in his first match. Just that turn of pace. He's very difficult to tackle when he's at top speed.
Great goal there from Chris Judd. If you want to see all the great goals of the weekend, tune into the winners tonight, 7:30, exclusive to Fox Footy. Very talented prospect, Chris Judd. So the Eagles make their move here at Subiaco. We've gone 6 minutes in the second term. The margin out to 28 points, 7-2-44. The Bulldogs 2-4-16. Gardner into the path of Cousins by hand to Peter Matera. He finds the chest of Rowan Jones to half forward off the hands of Haynes, who came on for Travis Gasper moments ago. Alvey, the handball was looking for Bandy, set him a task, and Robbins takes it to the boundary line.
Great work from Cousins in the middle of the ground. Gardner won the tap that got the ball rolling, and Ben Cousins is very good at picking up that ball running away from his own goal. Good set play from the middle of the ground.
So throw in, Bandy against Haynes. Jones came as the third man up into the path of Williams, where Punda attacked it, but the Bulldogs win it. Comes to Robbins. It's been dynamic in the opening 2 rounds off half back. They link up by hand. Hunter streams through the middle of Subiaco. Handball to Burse. He's got a man out wide. It's Garlick. Steps inside Matera, steps inside Jones. He's 70 metres out, decides to go himself. Goes towards Grant, 2 to beat, Chris Grant. At ground level, it's the Bulldogs. Will it sit for Burse? It does. Undecided, gets it to Grant. He's gone again. The umpire's picked out a free kick. It's too high. It's coming back to the Bulldogs. It's going to go to the youngster, Shane Burse.
It was great play from Chris Grant off the ball. When the ball was coming down, we were just getting mucked around. We just see the young fella getting, gee, that's soft, but it was there. The ball, the arm was definitely across the shoulder. But Chris Grant off screen when the ball was coming into his vicinity, he was working very, very hard. He threw about 3 leads, and all of them were about 25 to 30 metres. It's good team play.
Shane Burst, the 19-year-old from Sale in country Victoria, debuted last week, had 8 possessions against the Kangaroos and kicked a goal. From 40 metres out, 45-degree angle. He's tugged it way left. It's not going to make the distance. Oh, what a great mark for Djakovic!
And a bully has caught one in the back of the head too.
Djakovic soared over the pack. Brad Johnson, the man down. Peter Matera kicks towards the wing. Subiaco alike, courtesy of Glenn Djakovic. The Bulldogs have it. It's Hahn. He goes inboard and finds Alvey. The Bulldogs look to set up again. Johnson's back up on his feet. Attacks the ball. Spills off the fist of Banfield to Gian Siracusa. His flying shot at goal misses to the left-hand side. The Bulldogs inaccurate 2-5-17. West Coast to 7-2-44. As we look at the mark from Glenn Djakovic. Fantastic grab.
And that right knee has gone straight in the back of Brad Johnson's head. It's not funny, he's up, but he's rubbing it. But it was good play, he got back into the action.
The kick in came to Peter Matera, and he finds Djakovic at half-back.
The man in question chips it over the top, awkwardly for Jones, surrounded by Bulldogs. He's got a problem. Robbins swoops on it, kicks to half forward. Burst, run down from behind, was taken high, and Colica throws his head back in disbelief. He had Burst on toast, so to speak. Gave away the free kick. There are numbers loose. 30 metres out, taken by Gian Siracusa, and he rams it home for the easiest of goals.
The Eagles supporters not happy with that, but there was definitely a free kick to Burst. Good play from Gian Siracusa just to run forward into open space. He's worked pretty hard as well. He's just sucked that free kick pretty well then, the young bloke.
Yeah, looking messy from Colica, didn't it? He had more time. Burst didn't see him coming.
Yeah, you've just got to focus on your hips. You just see Gian Siracusa running forward. He kicked 3 goals last week, and he's a good young player. They're expecting him to step up to the next level.
It's a class act, Gian Siracusa. Vital goal for the Western Bulldogs, keeps them in touch. They move to 3-5, trailing the Eagles 7-2-44. Michael Thompson on the boundary.
Daniel Kerr on for his first run of the game, a key player for them last season. Just shows you how well they're going. They can keep him off for this long. Back in there, also coming off, Alvey replaced by Gilby. Taylor on for Kerr.
Darcy cannon into in the ruck contest. Plenty of players around this ball. There is Kerr, as Michael Thompson mentioned, just come onto the ground. Another free kick. It's going the way of the Bulldogs again for too high. It's going to Luke Darcy. The Dogs stream forward. The handoff goes to Gilby, to Smith. Fumbles, but has time. Good pressure there from Haynes. Worked the angle beautifully, smothered the kick. Spills for Bandy. High kick to the 50. Big pack flies. Johnson over the top. At ground level, Judd and Freddie collide. Comes to Smith. Dishes to West. From 40 metres out on his non-preferred foot. Clever little chip kick finds Gian Siracusa 25 metres out.
Well, that's action replay. Just in general play, the ball was in dispute across the half-forward line, and Gian Siracusa just running forward at an opportune time, and his direct opponent, whether that is Darren Glass, I'm not exactly sure at the minute, but just running forward at the opportune time, and the ball came forward through West. So good, smart play from the young kid.
So Gian Siracusa, his 9th possession coming up. 1 goal 2 this afternoon. Michael Braun comes on for West Coast, replacing Rowan Jones. It's about 25 metres out from goal. Very kickable for a man of his skills. So here's Gian Siracusa. On its way. Misses to the right-hand side. I only suggested that he would kick it. I didn't say he would, but that was still enough to make sure he missed. The Bulldogs 3-6-24, West Coast to 7-2-44. The margin 20 points. We've gone 12 minutes in the second term at Subi.
Peter Matera to bring the ball back into play. Little indecision and called to get on with it. Drives the pass intended for Djakovic. He juggles it, then takes the mark. He's got runners further afield, one of whom is Braun. From right half back, again the Eagles find space. Williams or Gardner. Williams takes it and runs, comes inside. The kick intended there for perhaps Haynes. Chipping in a chance for Garlick. Hard up against the boundary. Off hands, we've got a throw in at half forward for the Eagles. 20 points is the margin to West Coast. 12.5 minutes gone in this second term as Peter Matera makes his way to the bench, and Callum Chambers has his first run for the afternoon. Put a toss in. Gardner and Darcy. Spills to the back. Smith. Hand pass to Bandy, a little dangerously. His hand pass intended for Liberatore, who takes it and runs. Breaks free of Judd. Gets it over the top. Smith has run further afield. And Grant from half back. Cruises through centre wing. Has one bounce, then a second. He's got West over the top. He uses him now from 50 metres. Kicks towards the top of the square. Getting back there. A chance for the play there, and Gian Syracuse. Hand pass is okay. Snapshot on goal. It's tight. And Burst has snuck it through for a goal. The Dogs inch closer.
And that's when they're at their best, the Bullies, when they can develop that run and create options from the half-forward line. Fantastic play from Gian Syracuse. It was a good kick coming in from Scotty West and just allowed Chris Grant good run off the half-back line. Good to see him getting back in the action. The ball eventually comes in, and Gian Syracuse has just got his opponent Adam Hunter in the correct spot from his point of view. Just got him under the footy, but have a look at that handball. Just attracted the defender. Good finish by Burst.
So it's the Bulldogs' young guns, Gian Syracuse and Burst, giving them some spark up forward in this second term, and the Doggies are back within 14 points.
Up to 10 possessions, Gian Syracuse.
We've gone 14 minutes in this second term. Gardner, emphatic hit out. Into the path of Smith, however. Handball over the top, finds Robbins. Goes for a bounce around the outer side. Straightens up now, goes inside 50, Bowden's his target. Got hands to it, almost took the mark. Last recovered the better. Grant goes for the Bulldogs. Ball at ground level. Grant drags it in. Won't be penalised. It's a bounce.
Just get the feeling they've just come up a notch, the Bullies. And I reckon when they're second-tier players, we know who their superstars are, but when their second-tier players start to run, like Robbins, Elvie, when Garlic, those sort of guys start to run, that's when they have good matches, Bullies.
So right on the 50 for the Western Bulldogs. Darcy dispossessed. Gardner goes. He's wrapped up in a tackle. We'll have another bounce.
They've really set themselves for this match. They arrived in Perth on Friday. They knew it was going to be a warm and a humid match. They're not about to throw it away given the start to this season that they've had. So we have got a game on our hands.
Inside 50, 16-15 in favour of West Coast. Leading stat getters, Jakovic has had 11. Gardner 10, Peter Matera 9.
A lot of space on the goal side for Bullies.
For the Bulldogs, Weston Smith with 11, Gian Syracuse with 10. Crediuk goes up, wins the tap out. And as far as Haynes, his little kick found where Punda. On the overlap to Braun. Can they build from half back? Beautiful kick. The mark taken by Haynes. Goes inside 50. Bounces off the chest of Kingsley Hunter. Bulldogs track back through Gilby. Oh. Just tried to dribble it around the boundary line. Just got underneath the football and put it out of bounds on the full.
Yeah, he just didn't quite have the poise. Young player, that'll come as he plays more games.
So David Haynes
had the
just
poise
does
to
the
block
square
that
up.
one, though, didn't he?
It was almost like soccer then, you know, when a player gets injured and they intentionally kick the ball back out of play again. Bit of sportsmanship there. Although I doubt John Worsfold would see it that way. We'll have a throw in. It's West Coast by 14 points, 16.5 minutes gone in the second term. Grant went in the ruck for the Bulldogs. Head back towards the line. Gilby goes again. That time he manages to dribble it out.
He's a quick learner. That's what you like in a young player. Just see Gardner drifting forward. He hasn't got an opponent at the minute. Daniel Bandy's going to have to run back onto him because see Chris Grant coming up and doing the boundary work.
It's been creative, Gardner, taking the ball inside 53 times from his 10 possessions today. West Coast get first use from the stoppage. It's Kerr, puts it out in front of Braun. Spears the ball inside 50. Too much on it for Haynes. Oh. Philip Matera tries to create something.
What a tackle from
Liberatore. Has there been a better tackler in football, at least in the last 20 years?
I mean, we saw last week his tackle on Big Rocker, and Rowan Smith getting his hands on the ball. 6 disposals in the last 10 minutes, and that was the other end of the scale. Great tackle on Phil Matera.
So an opportunity here for West Coast. To the front of the contest, it's Garlic. To relieve for the Bulldogs, unsure of his options, kicks towards the wing. It's a one-on-one. Hahn versus Judd. Judd worked to the front. Hahn hacks it off the ground.
Crediuk, hard up against the boundary. Hunter tracks him towards the line. And we've got to throw it on centre wing. A 14-point lead to the West Coast Eagles as Peter Matera comes back onto the ground to replace Chris Judd. Conditions still very warm here at Subiaco. Ball back in play. At the front was Grant. It comes to Braun. Took a while to get hold of it. Taken down by Hahn. His hand pass rolls over and another throw in.
And Darcy is resting forward for the Western Bulldogs. At the same time, Michael Gardner has gone forward. So we've got two sort of part-time ruckmen at the minute. Grant and that's Williams. No, Gaspar.
Comes down to Smith. Kick was smothered by Matera. Matera gets a second chance off the ground, only as far as Braun, who for a hand pass out. Haynes tapped it down to accommodate Kerr.
Tackle.
Taken down, great tackle. They wanted a free kick, the West Coast Eagle supporters. Let's go down boundary side to Michael Thompson.
Thanks, Mark. Interesting duel between Garlick and Cousins. Garlick not playing a particularly physical role against him, just giving him a bit of space, trying to use his pace, and so far doing a very good job.
Awkward bounce. Smith got his hand on it. Comes across to Burse. He was taken high. Advantage will be paid. Johnson wobbles it out of bounds on the full, so
He should have used Gilby. He was on his outside running directly at goal. I just think a little handball to Gilby would have been on then.
Hunter will restart play in the shadows of the stand here at Subiaco. Not a lot of movement upfield. As a result, kicks to a contest. Gaspar, Grant nudges him under the football. Comes back to Gaspar. And the umpire calls for it. 14 points the margin to the West Coast Eagles. As Hahn comes off. Breathing deeply. We've gone 19.5 minutes in this second term.
McMahon replacing Mitchell Hahn.
They're away here, 3 on none.
3 on none. I don't think that classifies as a contest. Hargrave towards half forward, but the kick let him down. It's taken by Hunter. His kick in the middle in turn lets him down. Robbins, can the Bulldogs make them pay? High ball to half forward. Numbers with the Bulldogs. Djakovic, the only man there, almost claimed the mark, but emerges from a 3-on-1 contest. Brilliant play, Glenn Djakovic. Then kicks to the wing. Can he find his man? Gaspar crashes over the top. Gilby loses his feet. Bandy to Burse. Taken in the tackle by Fletcher. And finally it's Grant who emerges with it. Handball to Jordan McMahon with pace. Couldn't get away from Matera. Handball found Ben Harrison to half forward. Bowden. He's got 15 metres on Braun. Turns, chips inside 50 and finds the unattended Brad Johnson.
Yeah, Bowden's trying to take Djakovic away from the action. Not doing a fantastic job in that regard at the minute. I mean, Djakovic is basically, we're turning back the clock, probably 5 or 6 years. He's been fantastic. But just on that turnover, Bowden was able to get out onto the far wing or far forward pocket and just chip it across to Johnson.
So Brad Johnson, 8th possession coming up. He's kicked 1 goal 2 this afternoon from 48 metres out. Set shot at goal. Will go right to the line. Almost a mark there. The ball spills over the line and through for a rush behind to the Bulldogs. So Glenn Djakovic, 12 possessions, leading stat getter in the game with Rowan Smith, has 12 for the Bulldogs. And they move to 4-7-31. West Coast to 7-2-44. The margin 13 points. Just ticked over 21 minutes in the second term at Subiaco.
11 scoring shots to 9 in favour of the Western Bulldogs, but they trail on the scoreboard. Ball kicked in. Gaspar, who's worked hard this afternoon. Hand pass is smothered. They've got a throw in.
They've got to bail out West Coast when there's no one in short from these point kick-ins. They go definitely long and they go to Djakovic at the junction of the 50 in the boundary line. They go to Djakovic and someone like Gaspar to help him out there.
Ben Cousins with 7 disposals this afternoon. One of the key playmakers in this match. Darcy slunging the tackle. High over the top. Thumped forward by Chambers. Only as far as Smith. Centering kick. Bandy on the end of it. Sends it out wide. Not sure about that kick. And Peter Matera on the end of it. Had time to use it better to Daniel Bandy. Peter Matera, he's got a loose man in Gardner, approaching quickly. Well done by Bandy. Got a fist in at the spill. Ria Punda gathers. Williams is the target and he takes the mark just inside the 50. Philip Matera wants it. And Andrew Williams sees an open goal square.
He's going to have a shot, surely.
From the 50, Andrew Williams, drop punt, starts it right, bends it back, and hits the post about 2/3 of the way up.
Yeah, they're lucky to get away with that, the Western Bulldogs. It was just Daniel Bandy's kick into the forward line just was poor. He just, you know, he's been around long enough to play the percentages and kick to a more dangerous position in terms for your forward line player. And it should hurt you back the other way. Williams just hitting the goalpost there and just not quite managing to hurt him on the scoreboard.
14 points the margin, approaching 23 minutes gone in this second term.
Smith to the outer side, finds Garlick. We saw moments ago, burst came off, replaced by Elvey, who's gone to half forward. He's picked up by Richard Taylor. The ball's with Garlick. Dying stage of the second term. Bulldogs would hate to concede a goal here. They trail by 14 points, and they'd see that as quite manageable. Garlick towards half-back. Wilson attack the ball, spills off hands. We'll have a throw in. See Troy Wilson there. Started the game with a bang, just the 3 disposals as Chris Judd has a breather. Showed some class already this afternoon, Chris Judd. Gilby dispossessed in the tackle. Gasper soccers it off the ground, gains 20 metres for his side. Gardner just runs over the top of it. We'll have another throw in.
I reckon if the Bullies just maintain the score it is at the minute up until half-time, they'll be pretty happy with that. They've clawed their way back. There are only a couple of kicks in it, and in these stifling conditions, I'd be thinking they're a real chance.
So another throw in. Grant tapped it into the path of Ryan Hargrave. Returns home to WA. Fantastic story, Ryan Hargrave. His dad, Steve, played 2 games for the Bulldogs in 1982.
And was a very, very good waffle player, Steve Hargrave.
Originally from Perth. Was picked up in the 1999 draft, Ryan Hargrave. Made his debut in round 1. Gasper to Cousins, been quiet, just his 8th possession. To Kerr, inside 50. Gardner's his target, got Bandy to beat. Bandy did just enough to take it to the line.
I think they realise, Bullies, that it'd be well drilled. Just maintain this to half-time, get in there, have a break, and have a real crack in the third term.
We're playing a 13-man defensive zone now, the Bulldogs. Flooded back just to try and shut this down. We've gone 24 3/4 minutes. The ball emerges. Chance here for Cousins, 15 metres out, bumped off it. Garlick in there on hands and knees. Pinched his pocket. Braun, snap, goal.
Then again, if they let one slip, West Coast, you would think, would be going into the half-time break with a little bit more momentum. Really, the goal came from nothing. Looked like Garlick had control of the ball, but just good little intercept there from Braun. He had fantastic awareness and knew exactly where the goals were. Big year for Braun because he's been a little bit in the wilderness the last couple of years in terms of injuries, so that goal would give him a bit of confidence.
So Michael Braun, in fact only 21 games in the past 2 seasons because of injury, gets his first goal of the afternoon and extends the margin to 20 points for the Eagles. Darcy and Gardner. Seeing Darcy flies early. Gardner takes clean possession. Play was the call. May have been touched. Bandy heard it very late. Still got the kick away. Burse lays it off to Smith. Little indecisive. Hooks it round his body. Showed a lot of football to Chambers. That kick was intended for Harrison. And the West Coast Eagles will be happy with that result of throwing about 60 metres out from goal.
And Troy Wilson one out with Kingsley Hunter. Hunter persisting with that strategy of starting about 5 metres in front of Wilson. I think that's the way to play Wilson.
Rowan
and try
Smith.
and force him to the pockets.
Rowan Smith with 14 disposals. Comes to West. Hand pass inboard. Accommodates McMahon. Charges through the centre of Subiaco. Fires it to full forward. Colliker didn't complete the mark. A chance for Bowden at the front. With him is Hunter. Close to the line. The Eagles keep it in. Colliker comes across down to Peter Matera. Sweeps it over the top. And Daniel Kerr has space, although the ball didn't come back to him. Now he's got a problem. Weir Punda hard up against the boundary. Not much to kick to. As a result, Darcy took the mark. It was called play on. Must have been touched. Smith didn't go the 15. Back to Darcy. They've got numbers inside, and McMahon the sitter. Allows Philip Matera to swoop inside the 50. That was touched off the boot. Tries to make up for that mistake, does McMahon. Liberatore driven into the ground. Good pressure by the Eagles forwards. Finally, Darcy can relieve it, giving it by hand to West. And the Bulldogs out of trouble. Get it to Garlick.
So Garlick has it in the middle of Subiaco. We've gone 27 1/4 minutes in this second term. West Coast lead it by 20 points. He's got a man in space. It's Gilby. Has time now to assess his options. Just holds it up. In the end, it was the wrong option. Just held it a little too long. Kerr ran him down. Now streaks away. Takes him on by foot. A little chip pass.
He's on again, Kerr.
It's Gasper.
Good play.
Kept running. Great discipline from Kerr. in these warm conditions, provided the option and takes the mark 55 metres out.
His greatest concern there, Daniel Kerr, was Troy Wilson coming in the same direction.
Williams and West, courage from West goes back. Williams came on a thundering lead and West took it to the line.
But what Kerr did then, I reckon he actually looked up first. He saw the space was in front of him. He knew Troy Wilson was coming at him. To see that good courage from Scotty West wasn't we expect that of him. But good play from Kerr initially.
From the ruck contest, Garlick gets the clearance for the Bulldogs. Out towards the centre of the ground. A free kick in the back. It's going the way of the Western Bulldogs. Some untidy work there. And it's Burse. He goes short to Smith, who's been busy. His 16th possession. Handball over the top to West, his 15th. Spears it inside 50. Low trajectory kick, was looking for Johnson. He juggles twice, 3 times. And in one motion, dishes off the handball. Gian Siracusa sock it off the ground and hit the upright. Through for one behind.
I reckon he would have played a bit of soccer in his early days with a name like that. Great play from Johnson just to keep the ball alive and just got the ball out in front of him. Great awareness from Gian Siracusa.
1 goal for to Gian Siracusa. He's looked dangerous this afternoon. 11 possessions to him. Peter Matera looking to bring it in. We've gone 29 minutes in the second term. It's West Coast by 19 points.
Garner the target. Croft, though, stood tall and took the mark. One of the most honest footballers in the AFL, Matthew Croft. Made his debut back in 1991. Kicks it wide. Gian Siracusa surrounded by Eagles, and Glenn Jakovic, who's been busy, takes the mark. Pops it over the top, and Haynes receives it at right half back. The Eagles lead it currently by 19 points. To half forward, over the top of Hargrave and Weirpunda. Cousins picks up the loose ball, the captain. Blazing shot on goal.
Gee, he could have kept running there, Mark. He could have run all the way into goals. There was no one in front of him. Hargrave went to punch the ball. It had to come in front. It went behind.
Hunter brings it back into play, and Garlick takes the mark. Over the top to Burse. Runs his full measure, then kicks it into the man on the mark, or the man approaching at least. That was Gaspar. Cousins gathers, gets it to Haynes, hooks it round his body. That too is a little untidy, and it's out of bounds on the full. So I guess fatigue will play a part here this afternoon, Ben, and signs of that already.
Yeah, maybe that was a reason for Cousins kicking that one out on the full, but he should have realised he had time to steady.
Both sides almost dead on their feet here. We've gone 30.5 in this second term. West to Harrison, back to West, the give and go. He'll go inside 50. It's a 2-on-1. Johnson with 2 to beat for the Bulldogs, and he does well. Keeps it alive. Dribbles it back to the goal square. Here's Gian Siracusa. He goes again and hits the post again. Would you believe it? 1 goal 5 to Daniel Gian Siracusa right on half-time. And the Bulldogs may rue some missed opportunities here.
Just pushing the back to Gian Siracusa.
Brilliant play from Johnson to keep it alive. Was almost tempted surely to go off the ground again there.
Yeah.
In the end, the angle was too great. He hit the post.
He's looked lively though, hasn't he?
So the Bulldogs go in at half-time, trailing by 18 points. They've had 2 more scoring shots, however. They're 4-9-33. West Coast are 8-3-51. The Eagles in that quarter adding 3 goals to their tallies. We see Nathan Brown and the great Doug Hawkins making their way to the rooms at half-time. A very sorry sight there for Bulldogs fans. Nathan Brown injuring that left ankle early on in the game. And as we've heard from Michael Thompson, most unlikely to take any further part. Glenn Jakovic has been absolutely superb. 14 possessions, 4 marks. As Terry Wallace makes his way to the rooms. It's an 18-point margin, Ben. They've shown a bit in that second term, however, the Bulldogs.
I reckon the Bulldogs will be reasonably happy because there's a period there where West Coast kicked 4 unanswered goals, but they regrouped, and I reckon the preparation that they've had coming to Perth, given what we saw with St Kilda last week, just running out of legs, they've really understood what the conditions were going to be at them. Scotty West has been pretty good, 17 possessions. He's one player that the heat doesn't look to have affected him at all.
So it's half-time at Subiaco as the Bulldogs go inside to get some relief from the heat. They trail by 18 points. All in readiness for the second half here at Subiaco. It's West Coast by 18 points. Hope you're enjoying it right around Australia. It's West Coast 8-3 to the Bulldogs 4-9. Gardner up against Darcy. Alvey with the first effective disposal gets it to West. His kick will bounce inside the 50. Taylor tracks back for West Coast. Body on body. They're crunching through as Grant, and they've both hurt themselves. Spills for the Bulldogs. Burst takes the mark. 35 metres out. We see Chris Grant still down on his hands and knees.
It may have been a clash of heads. He came out very, very hard then, Chris Grant, and I mean, you don't expect anything less from him. And I just reckon he's copped Richard Taylor on his head as well.
Bit of whiplash there. Both players' heads sort of snapping around.
Every time that Chris Grant goes down, Western Bulldogs supporters hold their breath.
Let's hope he's okay, their inspirational skipper. The ball's with Shane Burst. He's been pretty impressive this afternoon. His 13th possession coming up. He's kicked a goal that came in the second term. This will be a perfect start for the Bulldogs. 40 metres out, kick on its way. Doesn't like it. It's through for another behind. So 4 goals, 10 for the Western Bulldogs, 34. West Coast 8-3, 51. The margin 17 points. Chris Grant's up and about. We see it there. It was almost a bit of whiplash. Their shoulder to shoulder collided, and then both their heads snapped back.
Gardner has taken the mark from the kick in. Swings it wide, looking for Embley over the top of his head. And Harrison, collision course, Gasper and Hahn. It comes to Judd, feeds a hand pass to Embley. He paddles it to his advantage. 75 metres from goal. Has a bounce. Runs to the 50. Chips it inside. Terrific vision almost. Over the head of Chambers. Philip Matera at the spill. Gives it to Cousins. Snapshot is a goal. Great start for the Eagles in this third term.
That was fantastic play from Andrew Embley. He actually chose to ignore the Troy Wilson lead. Wilson was demanding the ball. He could have kicked it towards him, Embley, but Wilson would have been having the set shot from the boundary line. So he chose to run an extra 10 metres and he released the ball to a more central position. That was the sole reason why that goal was a goal eventuated to Cousins. Great play from Embley. We just see Chris Grant there. He's up and about. He looks like he's okay, but it was good, fair play.
All-important first goal of this third term goes to West Coast through their skipper, Ben Cousins. The margin now out to 23 points. It makes Burst's miss at the other end pretty important. An 11-point turnaround in favour of West Coast. Judd ran onto it. There's Cousins. Gets it out again to Jones, but his handball straight to Burst. Can the youngster make him pay? Kick across the ground. Sits up for Gian Siracusa. Matera comes in to shut him down. Gian Siracusa goes short. Back into the middle. Finds McMahon. McMahon, the half forward. Elvey was the target to come from behind. Matera tracks it back. Little handball to Taylor. And on the overlap, it comes to Rowan Jones. 2 men at half forward. One of them is Chambers. Back to Jones. Spears the kick towards the 50. Wilson charges out on the lead. Fends one off. He's 60 from home. 2 Bulldogs yapping at his heels. Turns around, goes again. Trips the light, fantastic. Goes towards the 50 and finds Judd. Judd from 48 metres out to Jones. Back to Matera. Now they're messing around with it. It's official. Matera back to Weirpunda. And somehow they're back out to 70 metres out. Cousins. They go again, inside 50, and eventually the man who started it all, Jones. 8 possessions later, he's got it inside 50.
Well, I don't think they practiced out at training on Thursday afternoon. Just amazing. The thing that Wilson does, though, I know I'm not actually singing his praise on that regard, but what he does, he attracts so many defenders to him when he's got the footy, which make... Oh, good play, actually. Good team play again from West Coast.
Gives it off to Cousins, runs to 52 metres, sets sail for home, right to the line. And in the end, off hands and through for a behind. Big build-up for a very small finish.
Well, at least the positive out of that is they ended up having a shot at goal. Just interesting to see what Bowden's doing. He's actually trying to get as much space between he and Glenn Jakovic. He's trying to drag Jakovic right out of the action. Jakovic doesn't want to bar it. He's trying to get Adam Hunter onto Bowden.
Smith brings the ball back into play. Finds his man in Alvey just outside the 50. Wants to go immediately. Gives it to Hahn. From half-back. Delivers to open space, and Robbins, if it sits, is away. The bouncing ball, Jakovic and Robbins. Crunch, down goes Robbins. Judd with the recovery. Robbins is still down behind play. It comes to Chambers, inside the centre square. Across to Peter Matera. He's got a loose man in Gardner, just outside the 50. The Eagles are surging forward. Kicks towards the goal line. Phil Matera. Play on's a call. Across the face. Ben Robbins
It's one of the most courageous things you'll see from Matthew Robbins then.
Matthew Robbins, I should say, is down, and he saw the contact coming. Let's go down boundary side to Michael Thompson.
110 metres from where I am. We could hear that loud and clear, that crunch. Djakovic, they both had on, but Jacko had about 30 metres to build up some pace. An absolute cruncher, and the crowd, Djakovic is really turning them on today. A tough physical clash, but certainly very fair.
Robbins knew he was going to get hurt then, but still he went.
Yep.
Very courageous play. West to Elvey. Towards half forward. Bowden has got space and time. McMahon from 55's got a man on. Just chips it over the top. It's Jan Siracusa. He's kicked 1-5, so best to give it over to Grant. And he kicks the goal from point blank range.
Yeah, good team play. I reckon that'd be the fourth time that Gian Siracusa, I reckon he's done an AC joint there, Ben Robbins, when there's the two collisions there. That's looked like it is. He looks in a bit of pain.
Give you the wrap of all the weekend's action this evening on the winners at 7:30. Live and exclusive to Fox Footy as Matthew Robbins makes his way to the bench. Very courageous play. Knew he was going to get hurt, but did not pull out. So a goal to the Bulldogs through Chris Grant. The margin back to 19 points. We see Robbins and Djakovic collide. Courageous play from Matthew Robbins. Djakovic has just been dominant this afternoon. It's West Coast by 19 points. Have gone 7 minutes in the third term at Subiaco.
Game getting physical as the Bulldogs tried to mount a challenge. Garlick, kick was smothered. Fletcher over the football. He's pounced upon. Umpire lets it go for some time. Eventually,
he's dragged it in.
The West Coast Eagles midfielder.
Yeah, he signalled dragging the ball in then, Mark.
Garlick spots a man out wide. Darcy lobs it inside the 50. Crediuk works his man off the footy and takes a very clever mark.
It's amazing how one little incident in a game can inspire a team, isn't it, Ben? Matthew Robbins has gone down. His teammates have seen it. In the last 3 or 4 minutes, the Bulldogs have just lifted.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was interesting from Djakovic because he actually chose to go off his man. He was about 30 metres from his own man, who was behind him on the Western Bulldogs side of goal. So it was pretty risky in a way for Djakovic, but in the end he met the ball at precisely the right time, because it was right when he and Robbins met.
Very downcast Matthew Robbins on the boundary, receiving some treatment. Stephen Crediuk, who played 8 games last year, the veteran, doesn't make the distance, falls short. Comes down to Taylor, looks to concede a behind. Tackle from behind came from Gian Siracusa. We've got a throw in. 19 points the margin to the West Coast Eagles. We've got 8 minutes in this third term. The throw in. Darcy has front position. Takes clean possession, then lost it. Comes to Gardner. He kicks it towards centre wing. Well done by Gasper. Worked Bandy off the football. Into the path of Kerr. He was held without the football. Daniel Kerr. Such a marvellous first year in the AFL. He's got Banfield running free out wide. Through Banfield. Left foot kick. Spears it towards Wilson. And that's terrific delivery. The full forward didn't have to break stride. What's the betting here, Ben?
I reckon, as I said, I reckon he prefers him from a bit further out. We just go down to Michael Thompson on the boundary.
Yes, Dr. Ben, looks like you're spot on. An AC in the right shoulder, in a lot of pain. Just spoke to Doug Hawkins, and obviously unlikely we're going to see him for the rest of this match.
The only reason you'd know about that, Tomo, is if you've done one, and they are very, very painful.
It's a big blow for the Western Bulldogs, coming on the top of the loss of Nathan Brown. This is the reverse angle as we look at Troy Wilson shooting on goal. Never looked likely. Inaccuracy plaguing both sides at various stages in this match. The Eagles 9.5 minutes into this third term, lead by 19 points. Rowan Smith, an All-Australian back in 1997. Out to 20 points as it ticks over. West, leading possession getter in the game, 20 disposals. Kicks into the centre, that's terrific vision. He finds Bandy.
Good play.
Feeds out a hand pass. Alvey runs onto it in the Chris Grant direction. Glass from behind, falls at the back. Djakovic mops up. Gets past a couple. His confidence at an all-time high. Spears a pass out wide. Gasper had to stretch. Alvey, well, he did terrifically well then. Surrounded by a couple of Eagles. Got the football. Johnson is there. Corlica plays it well. worked him off the football, gave it across to a teammate. Hunter can set things up for West Coast through half-back. Jones. The Eagles in control by 20 points. At the back, Embley left it behind. The Bulldogs work it across to Smith. In turn, Gilby. Now Darcy to Garlick. And he kicks to centre half forward. It's an open forward line for the Bulldogs.
Players converge from all angles. Here comes Crediuk. Well played. Handball off to Bowden. He unloads from 50. It's going to go right to the line. It's a goal of the Bulldogs. Patrick Bowden kicks his first goal in league football.
Good finish, wasn't it? But Jakovic for the last, well, since this quarter started, he's trying to get dragged back to the full back line. The two opponents have been Bowden and also Crediuk. He's actually paying absolutely no attention to them whatsoever. Been fair enough because he's been getting the ball a fair bit himself, but it just might hurt him. I reckon for the next 5 minutes it'd be good for him to tighten up. We see Crediuk now dragging him right back deep in the forward line. Back line, I should say.
So the Bulldogs fancy themselves as one of the great backs-to-the-wall teams in the competition, and rightly so. They've lost two of their stars this afternoon, Brown, and there's Matthew Robbins in a lot of pain, gingerly making his way to the rooms.
Well, he was their leading possession getter this season coming into this game, Robbins.
So the margin back to 14 points. The Bulldogs lifting at Subi. West had it and lost it. There's Gilby. He's tackled by Rowan Jones, going nowhere. The umpire will call for a bounce.
And I reckon if either team can gain an ascendancy from this point in, from these ball-ups and boundary throw-ins, I just reckon that'll be the key to the match. So if Western Bulldogs can get on top there, they're in with a real show.
Umpire Vozzo puts it down. Burst runs onto it for the Bulldogs. He's lost it now. Cousins gets it off to Banfield. Towards half forward, Phil Matera appeared to be scragged in the contest by Liberatore. Play on's the call. Back towards half forward. Bowden will fly for the Bulldogs. Coming over the top to make the punch was Hunter, and he finds the boundary line. So 14 points the margin. We've played 12.5 minutes in this third term. Rowan Jones been running hot in this third term. He's had 6 disposals in the last 10 minutes. 9 for the game, so he's getting busy when it counts. West stripped of the ball. Taylor. West Coast tried to work it out by hand. Cousins just held it up, but it was pitched by Johnson. Fumbles, but goes again from 51 metres. Hands off to West. 48 out to Garlick. From 40 metres, Simon Garlick misses to the right-hand side. Another missed opportunity for the Bulldogs. And accuracy may come back to haunt them this afternoon. 6-11-47. West Coast 9-6-60. The margin 13 points. We've gone 13 and a quarter in the third term at Subiaco.
Well, they kicked 21 points in the round 1 match, didn't they, guys? And Terry Wallace was scathing, and just a couple of misses already in this quarter. That one from Garlick and Burst earlier on. It might hurt him.
Pretty good finisher is Simon Garlick. Normally, long kick straight down the middle of Subiaco. Gardner was the target. Hahn spoils. Cousins taken down by Garlick. Those two have spent a bit of time next to each other this afternoon. And we've got a ball up.
He has lifted in this third term, Ben Cousins. Been quiet in the first half. He's already had 6 touches for the quarter. He's up to 16 for the game.
The bounce just outside the 50 for the Bulldogs. No effective score. Bowden spins out of the pack brilliantly. Drives it long towards the top of the square. Terrific mark over the top. And Crediuk, I think it is, brings down the football.
Well, you better get the record books out, because I don't think he would have bothered the scorers too much in his career.
I can tell you he's kicked 10 goals, 12 from 139 games of football. So hasn't spent a lot of time forward. Didn't have a shot on goal in 2001.
Well, he's actually still a defender down there, believe it or not, because he's playing a negative role on Glenn Jakovic. That's a great mark. He's just thrown himself at it. Third man into that contest. And I tell you, if he can just negate Jakovic whilst he gets an opportunity down there, that could be the turning point in this match.
Almost point-blank range, Stephen Crediuk. Foreign territory for him, but he makes no mistake. A goal for the Bulldogs, and they're right back in this.
They've kicked the last 3. And look, Terry Wallace, we know what a marvellous coach he is, and what he has a history of you know, putting some unusual moves. Crediuk forward is an unusual move.
Hope you're enjoying this live and uninterrupted coverage around Australia on Fox Footy. A fantastic game at Subiaco. The margin now just back to 7 points. As Peter Matera returns to the field. Stephen Crediuk, just his 11th goal. 11 goals in 139 games for Stephen Crediuk. Would have enjoyed that one. Hasn't had a shot on goal since the season 2000. And he's made it count this afternoon. The margin back to 7 points, 15.5 minutes gone. Gardner goes up and wins the tap. Kerr pulled off the football when he didn't really have control. He'll take the free kick. Towards half forward, Jones goes back, takes the mark with the flight of the ball. They're streaming forward inside 50 West Coast. That kick was looking for Chambers or Wilson. Wilson on the bounce. Hands it off to Hunter. He sets sail for home and hits the post. So behind Adam Hunter. Almost added his first goal in league footy to his tally. He's stuck on 4 behinds now. And the margin to 8 points in favour of West Coast. The kick-in finds Bandy at half-back. You can see what he's got ahead. Players swarming towards the boundary line. A couple of leads on. There's one short from Harrison. Bandy holds it up, waits for the right option. Decides to thump it long towards the wing. Gardner will fly from the back. So too Gasper. Couldn't bring it down. Numbers at the back for the Bulldogs. Bowden to Hargrave.
Space.
Grant and Johnson versus Colliker and Glass. Johnson keeps it out in front of himself. Crediuk approaches and lays the shepherd on Colliker. It's an open goal. Johnson bends it back from the boundary line and just dribbles across the face. And in the end, Banfield takes it to the line.
And fantastic setup there from Western Bulldogs. All their players are basically in their back half. All they had up in front of them was one out with their opponents, Chris Grant, Crediuk, and also Johnson.
It was clever play from Johnson to keep it alive from the ruck contest. Hunter took control. Dribbled it towards the boundary. West tries to keep it in, but can't. It'll come back. It was out of bounds. We'll have a throw in about 70 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal. They trail by 8 points.
I reckon that boundary umpire had an educated guess then, because he would have been 70 metres away.
Yes, he certainly caught out of position from that quick clearance by Hunter. 17.5 minutes gone. It's West Coast 9-7-61. The Bulldogs are 7-11-53. The Coasters by 8 points.
Darcy, decisive tap into the path of West. Gian Syracusa kicks it into the full court area, but Jakovic, who's been outstanding this afternoon, collects another mark. Coming up for his 16th disposal of the afternoon. That is a very poor effort. Crediuk, the man on the mark, can take it, give it off. A chance from 35 metres for the Bulldogs to score again. And Bowden has missed. That is one of the most remarkable.
Reminded me of Mickey McGuan at
Victoria
Park when he had an injection before the game and couldn't feel his leg.
Well, the West Coast Eagles have to bring the ball back.
John Dorotich had a famous 1-2 at Waverley. Remember, he stubbed the ground with his foot and dribbled it 5 metres along the ground.
Glenn Jakovic has done a lot right this afternoon. That certainly wasn't his most memorable piece of play, although I'm sure it might make the highlight reel tonight somewhere. West Coast Eagles lead by 8 points. The Bulldogs are pressing hard in this third quarter. They've kicked 3 goals to 1. Banfield kicks it long. Jones and Gardner. The man at the front takes the mark. Michael Gardner wheels onto his right boot. Delivers to half forward. Gasper went down. Roving it well was Embley. Has a bounce. Hargrave, terrific chase. Put pressure on his opponent. Daniel Kerr finds a man loose in the pocket. Running into space, Colliker. A fit of the fumbles at the crucial moment. Couldn't take it. Liberatore swoops and the Bulldogs can clear it from half back.
So on the burst, he comes out towards West. He's got Braun to beat. It's a foot race.
Great body work by West.
West just held him off the football and paddled it to Bowden. Great awareness to Smith. That was experience and poise from Scott West. Won that ball for the Bulldogs. But a great mark down there taken by Hunter. One-on-one contest with Crediuk and he beat him hands down. Hunter's kick just sat up a little too high. Chance for the Bulldogs to make them pay. Smith from 60 metres attacks the goal square. Gian Syracusa versus Banfield. Goes across the face of goal and through for another behind.
It was fantastic body work by Scott West on the outer side. He knew Braun was too quick for him. Oh, just see Travis Gasper copping one into
Ben Harrison.
He looks a bit sore as well.
Slow to get up, Ben Harrison, in the hands of the trainers. And Williams also a bit ginger on the outer side. Fell heavily moments ago, but he's up and about. So it's West Coast 9-7-61. The Bulldogs 7-12-54. The margin is 7 points. Just ticked over 20 minutes in the third term as Colliker goes up and takes a nice mark. Brett Johnson gets yet another knee to the back of the head for his trouble. Gardner stands tall against Grant and takes the mark. This game is up for grabs. We're in a time on in the third term.
Johnson's still down.
Brad Johnson will have a sore head tonight. Gardner to Braun. He runs to 70. Assesses his options. They call for it deep. He goes to the square, drifting back. He called it. He kept his eyes on it. And the mark taken by Travis Gaspar.
Daniel Bandy totally out of position. You know, as a backman, you're in real trouble when you're running back with the flight of the ball and you can't feel your opponent, which is exactly what Bandy, that was his position right then. Good play from Gaspar. He just threw Bandy out of position and went back with the flight of the ball himself.
Gaspar. Chance here for his second goal. Oh, hits the post. Well, it is a case of lost opportunities for both sides this afternoon. It may just come down to who can take the most of their opportunities.
Well, he just needs to hold on to that ball. That was, well, his brother's not renowned for his kicking, but...
neither of them were. Damien, of course, played at Melbourne.
Yeah.
Darren at Richmond.
He'll get better.
So the margin back out to 8 points. Kick in, marked by the skipper, Chris Grant. He puts it out in front of Bandy. Just a little disoriented there, allowed Chambers to run onto it. And he'll pump West Coast back into attack.
Hunter takes it. He's got Braun further afield. He can take it and run. Michael Braun into the pocket. Phil Matera at the back. Important hand in there from Smith. Fists it over the line. We've got a throw in. So the margin is 8 points. The West Coast Eagles have led at every change. 16 points at quarter time, 18 at the half. But the Bulldogs, you get the feeling of making their move. The throw in, Matera, Liberatore wearing him like a second skin. Liber does very well. Hand passes to space. Gilby charges through, knocks it over, another throw in.
The thing about Liber, he always knows exactly where his opponent is. So if Phil Matera's a bit quick for him, it doesn't matter because he can just have a little tug on the jumper just to pull him back. He's a very, very good defender.
Just 6 possessions for Liberatore, but he has played a negating role. Williams, hand pass was smothered. Grant puts his body on the line. Braun and he go at it. And we've got a ball up. About 45 metres out from the West Coast Eagles goals. Less than 5 minutes remaining in this third term.
Grant's come up into the ruck. Scott West is having a break in the forward line.
Umpire Bozzo puts it down. Jones slaps it. It comes to Braun. Hooks it towards the top of the square. Harrison meets it hard. The tackle came from a couple of West Coast players. Bandy stands up, gets it to Hargrave. Quick kick outside the defensive 50. Gian Syracuse ran into trouble. Braun swings it high towards the top of the square. The packet. Williams was the flyer. Couldn't complete the mark. And the Bulldogs working overtime. Liberatore. Smith comes across to Gaspar. A high ball to the goal line. And the Bulldogs desperately force it through for a minor score. Hectic passage of play.
Well, there's good defensive pressure from the West Coast Eagles forwards. Gaspar, he had a bit more time and space there. And look, I know it's only his first game this year. But he looked back on that tape and said, I should have slotted that. I should have taken 2 more steps and just got my shoulders going straight at the goals and dobbed it.
West Coast Eagles kicked 1 goal 6 in this term, and the crowd getting involved now.
31,832 in at Subiaco, seeing a wonderful contest. Smith straight up the middle to Grant. They've got a man on out wide. It is Bandy. He takes it and goes to Gian Syracuse. Dropped what he should have taken. Had to hack it off the ground himself. We've seen his soccer skills this afternoon. That one's gone out of bounds on the full. So a missed opportunity there for Gian Syracuse. If he had just taken it clean hands, the Bulldogs were away. Hunter with a resultant free kick. Up to the wing. The man is Chambers. Sold the dummy. Line turned away. Gave it to Jones. To Braun. From 60 metres out, Braun will launch towards the goal square. Matera and Liberatore clears them both. And goes through for a behind to Michael Braun. 1-1 to him for the afternoon. And West Coast just nudge further in front. They're 9-10-64. The Bulldogs 7-12-54. The margin 10 points. Approaching the 25-minute mark of this third term. Grant crunched again. Bandy. He's wrapped up. Gardner in there working for West Coast. Matera tried to hack it out of mid-air.
They're away.
In danger. Will go the way of the Bulldogs, and Harrison on the break. Has got a man in space. It's Johnson. Marks at 55. Hunter came in to make sure Johnson couldn't play on. Decides to kick the top. It was a nothing kick in the end. A beautiful pass right under the chest of Darcy. Brad Johnson, brilliant play.
Well, it was an unusual decision, wasn't it? I thought he might have been able to go back and make the distance with a normal drop punt. He was anxious to get the ball on, and fair enough. The one thing about Johnson, he got the ball forward, and Darcy won out with glass. You know, that's fair enough. The spiral didn't work, but at least he got there pretty quick.
Mixed emotions in the Bulldogs coach's box. I'm sure they would have seen the kick and gone,
they're thinking, take
and then
him
seen
off,
the result and said, well done. Get that runner back. So Luke Darcy, yet to score this afternoon. Important kick, this one. Can bring the Bulldogs back within a goal. From 25 metres out, he converts, and it's game on at Subiaco.
Well, we mentioned at half-time we thought that the Western Bulldogs looked in control. They looked like, you know, they were definitely over here to play. And, you know, they've come out after half-time. They've actually kicked the last 4 goals. You see Johnson there. A couple of boys have thrown leads at him. He's gone for the spiral. I reckon Glass just took his eye off the ball there for a second, because if he was watching the ball the entire time, he would have realised that ball was falling short. Darcy, experienced player, was just watching Johnson the entire time. See Steve Credill coming off for a breather.
So Luke Darcy gets his first of the afternoon. Last year's fairest and best winner at the Bulldogs. Gets them within 4 points in the centre. At ground level, he does it again. Hands it off to Burst. The Bulldogs pushing forward late in this third quarter. Standing tall in defence was Darren Glass. Hands it across to Taylor. Braun, who's been busy in this third term, takes a mark at half back. West Coast Eagles have to hold on here. Dying stages of this third term. The Western Bulldogs have had the better of them in this quarter. Over the top, Jones. With him was Albie. We've got a throw in. 4 points the margin. The Western Bulldogs in this term kicking 4 goals to 1. Grant opposed to Gasper. Gasper gets hands on it. Leaps a hand pass. Spiking it forward was Jones into the path of Williams. He knocks it over. We've got another throw in.
And Gasper playing at centre-half forward. Actually, now he's just running forward into the open line, so forward line, so Bandy will pick him up. Jakovic will come and do the ruck work with Grant.
So much appreciated cloud cover now at Subiaco. Grant wins it, heads straight back to the line, and we'll do it again. 28 minutes gone nearly in this third term. West Coast Eagles by 4 points. They're set for a terrific last quarter.
So throw in. Falls short. Darcy in front position. Back to the line again. And we'll do it all again. Just under a minute and a half remaining in this third term. West Coast have led all day pretty much.
A pretty small forward line from Bully's point of view at the minute.
Bulldogs have dug deep in this third term. Have they got petrol in the tank for the last quarter? McMahon sold Elvie into trouble. Matera grabbed the crumbs. Spears it inside 50. Wilson on the bounce. Turns from 51 metres. He goes for home. It's going to go to the square. Kerr, was it touched? We'll wait on the goal umpire. I think it's good. Goal to Troy Wilson.
Well, young Hahn thinks he got a finger to that. And what the umpire, the central umpire, would be looking at is whether there was any, obviously, noise, but whether there was any deviation of the ball. It didn't look like there was too much deviation of the pack. Just see Kingsley Hunter there. He went to tackle Wilson initially, basically with his arms. It wasn't a body tackle. The ball comes in. Oh, pretty close one to call, wasn't it?
Inconclusive.
Absolutely. Benefit of the doubt.
Important goal. West Coast extend that lead back to 10 points in the shadows of three-quarter time. We've gone 29 minutes. It's West Coast 10-10-70. The Bulldogs are 8-12-60.
2 goals to Troy Wilson. The Bulldogs out of the middle through Gilby. Bouncing ball. Glass will run onto it. Deep in his own defence. Kicks it wide. Hunter tries to trap it. We've got a throw in at half forward for the Bulldogs. Stephen Credill getting some attention on the bench. And Chris Judd playing just his second game of league footy. Grant wins it down to West. The Bulldogs get it across to Harrison in turn. They link up the hand passes. Eventually Smith has it. Garlick, normally a good finisher, runs to 35. Drop punt on its way. He's missed to the right hand side. An opportunity blown there by Simon Garlick late in this third term. Could be costly. And
says it all, doesn't it?
It does say it all. as Taylor brings the ball back in for the West Coast Eagles.
Just get a horrible feeling. If you're a Bulldogs fan, they might be kicking themselves out of this contest. They've been great in this third term, though, and there's a long way to go. Cousins received from Chambers. It was touched off the boot. Jones juggled it, head-butted it. Play on call. Still managed to get it clear. Cousins emerges. Inspirational. What can he do? Dying seconds of the quarter. Gets it forward. The clock beats Troy Wilson, who goes for the spicky nonetheless. And it is three-quarter time. We are set for an absolutely cracking final term at Subiaco. West Coast at 10-10-70. The Bulldogs are 8-13-61. The margin, 9 points at Subiaco. Bulldogs are certainly a side that have plenty of both character and courage. Final term action at Subiaco. West Coast by 9 points. It's been a fierce contest. Cousins gets it out to Braun off the side of his boot. Judd leads in the race for it. He gathers. Will go inside 50. Wilson will fly from behind. Got one hand to it. Never a chance to mark, but he could mop up at the back. Paddles it along in front of himself. It's right to the goal line. Harrison under pressure. West Coast still a chance. Williams grabs it, throws it on the boot and snaps an incredible goal. What a fantastic goal. Perfect start for West Coast. Andrew Williams has created something out of nothing.
Well, Wilson a bit unlucky not to receive a free there. The call was play on. The ball came free. And look, he shouldn't really be dobbing those, but good for Williams because he's been around for a while. Kicked free last week. Bit of a smoky, I reckon, he'll be for West Coast this year. I reckon he's not a bad player.
2 goals to Andrew Williams. An important opener for the West Coast Eagles. That lead back out to 15 points. The Bulldogs just can't get within a goal and a half at the moment.
Another superb start for the Eagles to a term. Darcy out of the centre. Sends the Bulldogs to half forward. Pack sets at the front. Cousins gathers the football. Looks upfield. Kick was smothered by McMahon. Cousins does well. See, terrific work ethic by the West Coast Eagles captain. The hand pass by Hunter was smothered. Comes across to West. The Dogs up to half forward. Darcy getting his hands on the football. Awkward looking kick. Oop. Down goes a couple of players. Judd stands up. Needs support. Gets it from Banfield. In turn to Chambers. Inside the centre square. Peeling out wide was Weapunda. And takes the mark. Kicks it down the line. Kerr and Gilby. Gilby gets a hand in. We've got a throw in just outside the 50.
Actually, Judd got a couple of possessions already in this last quarter. He was rested for probably the last 15 minutes of the third, so expect him to have some fresh legs.
10 disposals so far this afternoon for Chris Judd. Got a throw in. Bandy only as far as Kerr. Hahn tries to break free of a tackle from Braun. Throws it on his boot. Chambers. Croft is charging towards him. Put pressure on the young West Coast Eagle. Jakovic has a couple to beat. They try and lock it up, the West Coast Eagles, and they do so successfully. We've got a ball up as Hargrave comes on to replace Harrison, and Croft has a breather, and Crediuk comes back onto the ground. It's a 15-point lead to the West Coast Eagles. They've gone nearly 3 minutes final term from Subiaco.
Worked out well there for the Bulldogs. Croft was actually coming to the interchange bench to be replaced and suddenly found himself in the heat of the action. Darcy, but it's Jones who goes up and fists it forward for West Coast. Taylor shut down by West. Jones goes again. Elvey possibly taken high. Advantage paid. Gilby to West. Can he create something through the midfield? He's got a man in space. It's McMahon. Steps inside. Jordan McMahon goes straight up the middle. Man on the lead is Bowden, but coming back to cut it off. Reading it beautifully was Glenn Jakovic. Possession number 17. Goes wide to Williams. His kick partly smothered by Hargrave. Did the disciplined thing there, Ryan. Hargrave did well. Shows the football and then kicks it inside 50. Bowden with height. Clears him. Grant first to recover. Will it sit for him? Crediuk fumbles it. Now he's under the pump. Crashing in there, Jakovic. Also Hunter. And will have a bounce.
I reckon if they're to kick 3 or 4 goals this quarter, they need Chris Grant one out. He's down there with Glass, but he's got a couple of other guys around him. The ball just needs to come in a bit quick as Crediuk with a bit of a touch of the fumbles. But put Grant one out and just see how they go.
It's 40 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal. They trail by 15 points. We've gone 4 minutes in the final term. Judd emerges from the congestion. Couldn't get an effective disposal away. West to Bowden to Hahn. Up and under. Johnson in front. Glass at the back for West Coast. Chambers taken in the Johnson tackle. Free kick paid. It's going West Coast way.
Scotty West has done a power of work already in this last quarter. He's laid tackle, his second efforts, and he's got a couple of touches, but just doing a lot of work off the footy.
Chambers has it for West Coast. He's got 2 men out wide. One is Gardner. Takes it on the chest to half forward. Blair Punda bounced off his chest, allowed his opponent Hargrave in. Creates the turnover. The Bulldogs build through the middle of the ground. It's Bandy on the overlap. Kicks it inside 50. It's a chip kick. Bowden goes up, got hands to it. Recovers at ground level. Dishes to Johnson from 45 metres. A standing start. Brad Johnson. It bounces right on the line and doesn't get there. Unbelievable. And Djakovic just trots in and cruise for West Coast. Runs it out to 45. Kicks long to the wing. And the Bulldogs will have to build again through Gilby.
No luck there for the Western Bulldogs. Gilby centering kick finds Darcy. He's got a runner out wide. That's Albie. Has a bounce. Looks for his options. Ordinary pass to Grant on the bounce. Glass takes him down. Djakovic with poise. Delivers beautifully to Cousins, and the captain's got it at left half back. Then Cousins come out for his 22nd disposal this afternoon. Pops it over the top. Ill-directed. Garlick got a hand in there. Chambers. Terrific tackle by Garlick. Brought him to ground. The umpire lets it go for some time. Judd taken down, and we've got a ball up just on the edge of the centre square. 15 points the margin. The West Coast Eagles lead it, and the Western Bulldogs have had their chances. A little bit of luck would have been handy as well about 60 seconds ago.
Thought it was a goal too, didn't he?
Kerr. Hand pass. Accommodates. Chambers. Sells a dummy. Drives it to the pocket. Phil Matera takes the chest mark about 20 metres out, and Libba had no chance on that occasion.
Well, I talked before about Libba always known where Phil Matera has been throughout the course of the match. He just lost him. It was only about a half a metre break that he got on himself, that Phil Matera got on Libba, and that's all you need, because this guy, you give him 10 centimetres, he'll take 2 metres. Very, very quick to get off his opponent.
An important kick in the context of this match. The goal would stretch the margin to 21 points. The 100-gamer bends it back, sneaks it through. He's got his third.
Steadying goal for West Coast in a way. You just sense that Libba not happy with that. But just see the one-out duel of Libba, and they've been together for the entire match. Libba and Phil Matera just off screen. He just got half a metre. Libba was going back with the flight of the ball, and he had to go forward. Good action. He doesn't miss them. Best forward pocket in the business.
So West Coast get the opening 2 goals of the final term. Extend their lead. Phil Matera with 3 goals in his 100th game. It's out to 21 points now. The Bulldogs need the next one to stay in this contest. Bowden. Handball partly smothered. It's tapped on for Hahn to run onto. Judd right on his hammer. Won it brilliantly, Judd. Just reached around and grabbed the football. Taylor. Hurried kick out towards the wing. Numbers favour West Coast. Chambers left it behind. McMahon came in. He had 3 to beat. Well played, Jordan McMahon. Put Djakovic under pressure, but in the end, the weight of numbers wins out. Banfield. Long towards the wing. Bandy to fly from behind. Cannon into his opponent. Kerr at ground level, stripped of the ball. McMahon to Bandy. To half forward. Johnson. Appeared to be holding his man from behind. Umpire says nothing doing. We'll have a bounce. Played it pretty well there, Brad Johnson. Did everything he could without really holding on as such.
Good body work from Colica as well.
So it's 21 points the margin. West Coast lead it. We've gone almost 9 minutes in this final term. Chance for the Bulldogs here, just outside their 50. Gardner slapped it to Chambers. He's kicked forward towards the wing. Chance for West Coast to run onto it through Richard Taylor. Inside the 50. Hunter leads Wilson to the football. Bounces off his shins. It's still alive. Williams Handball over the top to Jones. Back to Williams. From 45 metres out on the boundary line. Set sail for home and kicks another one. Travis Gaspar puts West Coast 27 points in front. We've got 9.5 minutes in this final term. The turnover costly in midfield. And West Coast made them pay. The handball off from Williams. Over the top to Gaspar. An exciting goal. You can get a full wrap of all the exciting goals of the weekend tonight at 7:30, exclusively on The Winners, right here on Fox Footy.
So Travis Gaspar has more than earned his place in the side this afternoon. 2 goals, 16 disposals. 27-point lead to the Eagles. The chant has gone up at Subiaco. Darcy takes clean possession, gives it to Garlick. To half forward, the numbers for the Eagles. Off hands, read well by Bowden. In space, 45 metres out, a little indecisive. Getting back, Jakovic takes the mark in the last line of defence. Drives it to Chambers, who takes the mark.
And Jakovic's reading of the play has been unbelievable today. He's basically done exactly what he's wanted.
Is there some sort of force field 5 metres out from the Bulldog goal?
They haven't had much luck on that front in the last quarter. Colica and Bandy go for it. Bandy does well. The big fellow, left foot kick into the pocket. McMahon goes back with courage, takes the mark. He was questioned last week at Colonial, but he put his body on the line there.
That's a great sign. And the great thing about footy is you can put last week behind you if you eradicate your mistakes. And Jordan McMahon, that's exactly what he didn't do last week against the Kangaroos. Go back with the flight of the ball with that intensity. Great sign for a young player to quickly correct his mistakes.
Taken at number 10 in the 2000 draft. Where's number 23? Does Jordan? Just a coincidence, I'm sure. Left foot kick, tight angle. Good effort from there. The Bulldog supporters like it, who are at the ground. It's a goal.
That was a good kick and a good finish. There is big raps on him, but he would have got a lot of media attention from that indiscretion last week. Daniel Bandy just kicking that ball forward. He knew he had to go for that, and I'll tell you, every AFL player that goes back with the flight of the ball, he's a little bit scared. There's a little bit in him that's a bit anxious of not knowing what's going on. So it's a good sign, good finish.
So Jordan McMahon gets his first goal for the afternoon and drags the margin back to 21 points in favour of West Coast, approaching the 12-minute mark in this final term. Darcy will go in the ruck against Gardner. Gardner stood underneath it and got the tap forward, only as far as Hahn. Bounced off the tackle, kick to open space, set Burst a big task. Taylor got there first. Gets it out to Chambers. West Coast running from half forward, inside the 50. Wilson puts 1 mid up. Hahn slaps it away, and it's gathered by Liberatore at the back. He kicks to space. There'll be a free kick down the field. It's going the way of the Bulldogs. Tony Liberatore dealt with illegally after he disposed of the football. The resultant free kick will go to Lindsay Gilbey.
And I reckon they've used the bench pretty well today, West Coast. Chambers coming on this quarter, having a bit of an impact, same as Judd, and they've been well rested throughout the game.
Towards the wing, Grant wrestles with Glass. Glass got his hands to it, then Grant had it, but it ended up with Judd. He goes short to Williams. 70 metres from goal. Andrew Williams wants to move it quickly, goes short, just over the top of Bandy. Wilson couldn't take the mark. There's still a chance. It's Williams from near the boundary line, tries to pull it back across his body. Couldn't bring it back enough, and it's through for one behind. Williams 2 goals, 2 for the afternoon. West Coast lead, edges forward.
Jakovic getting taken right back to the full-back line by young Bowden. They've tried to do that all day, or basically from quarter time, and it's been all to no avail. Jakovic's been outstanding.
Eagles by 22 points. We've gone 13.5 minutes in this final term.
Hunter receives the kick in from Garlick. The Western Bulldogs now with the job ahead of them. Pops it over the top. Marked by Smith. Out wide, Johnson. He finds McMahon, the last goal kicker for the Bulldogs. Left half back. Over the top, Bandy. So they've retained possession of the Bulldogs without too many troubles. McMahon runs hard. Left foot kick into the pocket. Bowden is there with Jakovic. Banfield, important hand to Punda. One-handed pickup if you don't mind. Left foot kick looking for the boundary line. I get that far, and running with the flight of the football. Terrific mark taken by Hargrave. They need a goal here, the Western Bulldogs. We've travelled 14 minutes in this final term. To full forward the kick goes. McMahon flew. Did he complete the mark? Not quite. Ball bottled up. We've got a
Stiff
ball
there,
up
isn't
now.
he?
Almost completed it, and he pleads his case as we speak.
He's got control of that, I reckon.
Just at the final moment, did it touch the turf?
No mark. Didn't control it.
Well, fair enough.
Umpire was blindsided, so
He guessed.
in effect, I guess that's right. 35 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal. Can they manufacture one here? Weir Punda off the side of his boot. A good result, though, for the Eagles. A throw-in. So the West Coast Eagles have led at every change by 16 points quarter time, 18 at the half, 9 points at three-quarter time. From the throw-in, Colica got a fist in there. Braun off a step, swings it round his body. And the West Coast Eagles working it up the field. More importantly, away from the Bulldogs' goals. Michael Braun this afternoon, 12 kicks for the afternoon, making somewhat of a comeback to the game after being riddled by injury throughout 2000 and 2001.
So we've gone 15 and a half minutes in this final term. Bulldogs need the next one. They trail by 22 points. Braun will take the free kick, got one in the back. Dishes off to Taylor and then lays a shepherd on McMahon. So Taylor to half forward. The bounce beats Philip Matera and Liberatore. Numbers back there for the Bulldogs. Bandy stripped of it by Matera. That allows Judd in. He accelerates to 40 metres with pace to 20 metres. Just ran a little bit too far and got caught. Right at the last moment, he was about to sling it onto his boot. Mitchell Hahn just grabbed the back of his jumper and it was holding the ball. The Bulldogs dodge a bullet and they're still alive. We've gone 22 minutes in this final term.
Didn't Judd have a turn of speed then? Amazing. He got past two defenders before the third one finally got a jumper.
16 minutes in the final term, rather. 22 points the margin. Colica almost. Jones wrapped up in a tackle by Gilby. Kerr keeps it in, gives it to Peter Matera. Swings it high to half forward. Flying over the top was Grant. Gasper. There's Philip Matera. He gathers from 30 metres out to the top of the goal square. Numbers at ground level for West Coast. Hunter, there's the numbers I was talking about. It's Williams. And he kicks it straight into the goal umpire. It's 3 for 6 points.
Well, the ball was kept alive by Phil Matera. Looked like he was going to have a shot from the boundary line. He may, in fact, have been doing that, but it was a little bit up and under the kick. Ball came in high to Troy Wilson and his opponent, and I reckon Williams did the right thing there. He didn't fly. He stayed on the ground and just waited for the crumb. He could have come in, just got in front of the pack and just swooped on the loose ball. Pretty basic stuff, resulted in a goal.
3 goals to Andrew Williams this afternoon. Leading goal kicker along with Philip Matera with 3 in his 100th game of football. And the Eagles would have to do a lot wrong from here to lose the game of football. They currently lead by 28 points. In the centre, Gardner. Colica left it behind. Judd is there, so too Kerr. And off the ball, McMahon and Taylor get acquainted.
And 8 separate goal scorers for West Coast, so it really has been a team win aside from Jakovic. And Cousins has been a bit better than reasonable in the second half, but it's been a real team performance.
22 disposals for Ben Cousins, the captain of the West Coast Eagles this afternoon. Darcy picked up 3 Brownlow votes in round 9 when these sides met at Subiaco, opposed to Gardner. Comes to Kerr, tries to weave his way through traffic. Hand pass was chopped off by Hahn. His kick ineffective, although West swoops on it to half forward. Taylor and McMahon. McMahon with pace was grabbed without the football, will get the free kick. Jordan McMahon has been lively in the forward line for the Western Bulldogs.
And see, he fancies his pace against Richard Taylor, doesn't he? Wants to take him on at every opportunity.
Absolutely, why not?
His kick is pretty ordinary, and Judd stands his ground and takes the mark. Inside the 50, the hand pass was read very well by Crediuk. He flips it across there to Johnson. Over the top, Garlick. He's got to kick this. Left foot kick. The pressure came from Cousins. Bowden. Gian Siracusa. He snaps a goal, and the Bulldogs stay in touch.
And look, Chris Judd knows he's only a young player, but he had control of the footy, and he's elected. He knows he's made a mistake, but he hasn't gone off the mark prior to executing that handball. Good block from Crediuk. The ball is kept alive in the Bulldogs forward line, and good finish in the end by Gian Siracusa. It should never have happened because Eagles had control of the ball.
Brilliant finish from Gian Siracusa. We have a blood rule. It's on Chris Judd. And there is Gian Siracusa. 2 goals, 5 for him this afternoon.
He's become a goal kicker for him, hasn't he?
It's been very impressive.
Last couple of weeks, kicked 3.
Judd off to be replaced by Chad Fletcher.
Not a good time to come off the ground after you've made a mistake, though, to possibly answer a phone call.
So the margin is back to 22 points. We've gone just over 20 minutes in the final term. We're into time on. Taylor and McMahon continue their conversation. Darcy and Gardner. Darcy slaps it out. Fletcher just onto the ground and straight into the action. Weirpunda puts it out in front of Gardner, who gathers the bouncing ball right on centre wing. Low trajectory kick inside 50, finds its mark. It's Troy Wilson.
Gee, it looked like that ball was just going to carry over the top of Troy Wilson's head, but the last split second he's just got a little bit further into the air and that ball is stuck. Wasn't a great kick from Gardner.
Didn't really hit it cleanly, did he?
No, he wasn't actually going for Wilson, I reckon, but good get in the end from the big fella.
So Troy Wilson, 8th disposal coming up. The big fella's taken 5 marks and kicked 2 goals too.
I reckon Hunter and he have had probably an even battle.
From 55 metres out, gets onto it, as straight as an arrow. Troy Wilson kicks his 3rd.
Quite amazing when you think about it. He looks comfortable from 55 metres out, Troy Wilson, but anything within 30 metres, he gets a little bit shaky. That's absolutely a mental thing and probably something he needs to work on, but he never looked like missing that goal.
So Wilson with his 3rd of the afternoon. And the Eagles once again skip clear by 28 points. So 14 goals for the season for Troy Wilson, playing his part this afternoon with 3 goals as the Eagles get that margin back out to 28 points. Darcy won it down. Braun hacks it forward. Kerr and Gilby go at it. 2 youngsters. Kerr does well. Hand pass accommodates Chambers. Spears it to Wilson. What will he do here? On his right side. Swings it back, misses the lot. Touch of unpredictability about Troy Wilson when he gets the football on the run, Ben.
Well, you don't want to go tackle him. That's the predictable thing about it. No one wants to go near him.
Liver continues to get the jeers. Hasn't done much wrong today, I wouldn't have thought, but they've got long memories, these West Coast Eagles supporters.
You know when he's near the footy anyway. You hear the crowd booing.
Bandy kicks long. Gardner and Darcy again go at it. Comes to the feet of those players. Taken by West. Johnson couldn't complete the mark. Roving it well was McMahon. To full forward. Looking for Grant. He loses his footing. Well, held without the football. And the Bulldogs will get a free kick. In fact, it won't go to Grant. It'll go to Gian Siracusa, who's kicked 2 goals this afternoon.
Yeah, I reckon that was on. I reckon Peter Materis just got him by the jumper slightly. It looked at from the naked eye. Scotty West, incidentally, just moved up to 30 possessions, just been a tireless worker for the Bullies. Well, we probably expect that's his normal game, but, you know, when you see him in the flesh and you see the amount of work he does off the ball, you can't help but admire him.
2 goals, 5 this afternoon for Gian Siracusa. 23.5 minutes gone on the final turn from Subiaco. Drop punt on its way. It slides across to the right-hand side. Another bad miss. 27 points the difference. And you get the feeling that may have been one of their last chances to perhaps pinch this game.
So 2-6 to Gian Siracusa. Does that equate to 3 goals? Brown on the boundary line. Injured his ankle early in the first quarter. Has taken no further part in this game. Matthew Robbins also off.
You'd think both boys would miss at least 3 weeks. I mean, an AC joint would be maybe a month injury.
So Taylor Comes away from half-back. Kicks towards the wing. The mark taken by Jakovic. His 22nd possession. 8 marks today, Glenn Jakovic. It's the Eagles by 27 points. We've gone 24.5 minutes in this final term.
And Brown was very good in the win last year. Of course, he and Brad Johnson combined kicked 7 goals in that win last year, and they've only managed 1. Johnson with the 1 goal today.
Jakovic, a high ball towards half-forward. Rowan Jones working at hands and knees, and the ball goes over the line. They've missed Matthew Robbins' run off half-back as well. Has been in scintillating form in the opening 2 rounds. 26 and 29 possessions in the opening 2 weeks. They just haven't had that drive.
Yep, and when they're getting the ball off half-back line, that's when the Bullies are at their best.
So Darcy takes front position. Clean possession out of the ruck to West.
31.
Spears to half-forward and hits Bowden on the chest. Beautiful kick from Scott West. He puts it out in front of Grant. There's one for the highlights tape during the week if you're Terry Wallace. Beautiful movement of the ball from the Bulldogs.
Well, I reckon they've been trying to do that all match. The Bowden received the ball, and the opponent, and Bowden's opponent was Glenn Jakovic. They should have been trying to use Bowden in that fashion, just the short chip. So Jakovic couldn't go back with the long ball with the flight of the ball. He had to actually go and man the mark. You make Jakovic responsible directly for one opponent.
So there's Steve Krediuk on the bench as his skipper Chris Grant comes in to shoot at goal. He's kicked 2 goals for the afternoon. And over the deafening applause here at Subiaco, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but in comes Chris Grant, 45 metres out, pretty much directly in front. Chance to kick his 3rd for the afternoon. Kick on its way. You can judge from the crowd reaction, was missed. 2 goals, 1 to Chris Grant. Gone 26 minutes in the final term at Subiaco. The Western Bulldogs 10-15-75, trailing West Coast 15-11, 101. The margin 26 points.
Doesn't get much easier for the Western Bulldogs next week. They face the reigning premiers Brisbane at Colonial Stadium. The West Coast Eagles have Melbourne at Optus Oval. Matera with the kick in. Harrison got hands to it. Smith lays it off to West. Centering kick to Darcy. He delivers into the pocket. Standing his ground, and Garlick took the mark. Peter Matera arrived late on the scene, but Garlick has paid the mark and can kick a consolation goal. Simon Garlick's had the job this afternoon on Ben Cousins and has been pretty effective. 17 disposals so far and shooting for his 1st of the afternoon.
I just reckon one of the things that Terry Wallace would have been disappointed in the last 2 weeks, they got overrun by Kangaroos in the last quarter last week. I think it was 6 goals to 1 as Michael Gardner comes off for a rest and Gaspo comes on. Looks like West Coast Eagles are going to overrun him in this last quarter as well.
Garlick's kick. He's converted. He's put it through the middle. A late goal to the Bulldogs.
Well, he's worked pretty hard, Garlick. You'd probably say that when the match was really there to be won in that sort of in the middle of that 3rd quarter, that Ben Cousins came into the game. I reckon he was well held up until half-time. Cousins moved on to 22 possessions. Garlick's kicked a goal and had 18 possessions himself. It's probably a 0-0 draw. We got Michael Thompson down on the boundary line.
Yeah, Michael Gardner just got a little bit of cramp in his calf. He started to stretch. He wanted to stay on, but the bench immediately said, let's get him off the ground. So no chances with the big ruckman.
So players from both sides have handled these very warm conditions exceptionally well. But West Coast just going a little bit better. They lead by 20 points. Darcy to West through the hands of Garlick. Fletcher to tidy up for West Coast. Gives it off to Taylor. Out towards half-forward. Rowan Smith tracks back with the flight of it and takes it to the line. So just under a minute and a half remaining. West Coast will go 2 wins and 1 loss for season 2002. The Bulldogs will be 0-3. And as Mark mentioned moments ago, it doesn't get any easier. Brisbane next week. Smith towards Harrison. Could only free the one arm to go at it. Fletcher gets it for West Coast. Out towards Cousins on centre wing. Wheels onto that right boot, goes inside 50. Philip Matera, well-timed fist there from Liberatore. Daniel Kerr emerges with it, well played. Great vision, a handball to Matera. He releases Haynes, 15 metres out, bangs it through. A well-worked goal there from the West Coast Eagles. David Haynes finishes it off. Gone 29.25 minutes in this final term. West Coast 16-11, 107. The Bulldogs 11-15, 81. The margin 26 points.
Yeah, and that's the 9th separate goal scorer for the West Coast Eagles. And, you know, whilst, I mean, I actually think that's a really good sign that Troy Wilson hasn't kicked a bag. Phil Matera hasn't kicked a bag. They've really shared it around. Their run has been pretty consistent from the opening bounce. And that's a pretty good sign from West Coast. Worsfold will be happy with that. It's been a solid win.
So David Haynes on the scoreboard. Muddy's debut back in 2000. And the Eagles now building a lead, nearing full time. Ball back in motion. Darcy may have been taken high, irrespective. Handed it to Garlick. High ball. There's a free kick off the ball. It'll go to the West Coast Eagles. Taylor the recipient. Dying stages of this match. Kerr has got a runner inside in Fletcher. He chooses Banfield. It must sit for him, otherwise he's got a problem. Support came from Chambers, in turn to Wilson. Right foot kick round his body. Shepherd from Matera, and Wilson kicks the late goal. He's got 4.
Just the ball coming forward with really no system. It's kept alive on the half-forward line, and once again we see Troy Wilson from 50 metres out. It's like shelling peas for the big fella from that far out, but just a solid team goal. It was no real science about it. It was just getting yards, get it forward, bash it forward, keep your opponent off the ball when it comes into my area. Just some good hard one-on-one footy that ended in a good goal.
So the scoreboard now a little unflattering for the Bulldogs. The margin 32 points. Dying stages of this game. Johnson takes on Cousins. Pumps out a handball to Gilby. Comes back to Johnson. And there is the final siren. John Worsfold registers his second win as Eagles coach. 32-point margin. West Coast 17-11, 113. Defeat the Western Bulldogs 11-15, 81. So the Eagles led at every change. It was 16 at quarter time, 18 at half time, 9 points at three-quarter time. The Bulldogs fought back, but in the final term, 7 goals to 3 in favour of West Coast. See them run out 32-point winners.
The West Coast Eagles with 2 wins for the afternoon, I guess better than what many pundits had expected. Michael Thompson is downstairs with Glenn Jakovich.
Thanks very much, Mark. Yes, Glenn, congratulations. It was tough, hard, physical game, but a great win.
It was a tough game. I mean, the Bulldogs are always a tough side, and I don't think the conditions help, mate. I think both teams are happy that final siren's gone.
Big clash between you and Matthew Robbins. What do you remember about that one?
Oh, just pretty hard at it. Both guys just going for the ball. I had my eyes on the ball, and yeah, he bowled me over a bit, but I was lucky to keep on playing. So
the ground shook. Look, you played like a 19-year-old today. You must have really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm not a 19-year-old, mate. I'm a bit older than that.
Well done to Glenn Jakovich.
Yes, thanks, mate.
Yes, vintage form from Glenn Jakovich this afternoon. 22 possessions and 8 marks. We take a break here from Subiaco. Full time, West Coast 17-11, 113. Defeated the Western Bulldogs 11-15, 81.